What is up? Hopefully, we get some people here in a moment. I've got the draft on in the background. Let me know as you come in. Let's see. Is there anybody there?
Nobody's there. Two. Here we go. People are on.
Well, we got some people. Sweet. All right. So here's the thing. Here's I'm super pumped about this draft. Couldn't be more pumped about the draft, but I find myself always getting to the point where I'm like super excited, super pumped up to be like, okay, what are we gonna do? But then it always comes to Brian Gutekunst. Now, I think Brian Gutekunst, and I know there's a lot of listeners that listen that are like, you know what, we really don't care for Brian Gutekunst. We think he's a bad GM. I would say the majority of the people that listen, at least that comment and listen, say that they're not a fan of Brian Gutekunst and they don't think he does a good job drafting as a general manager.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I know I commented on one of your recent videos, and one of your listeners, I made that comment. I'm like, you look back, and no GM's perfect, and they're going to make mistakes. But I think overall, like you look at where the Packers pick almost every year, they're in like the early to mid 20s, late 20s, depending on the season. Go back to like 2018. Yeah, right. They're always good. So, they always pick in the 20s. And I think just as a general, look, that he's been a very successful GM. He's had bad drafts. You look at the Josh Myers draft. That was a really bad draft.
But he has bad drafts like in the first round historically. I mean, when you look at going back to 2008, since he's been the general manager of Green Bay, 2018, he worked magic. He traded back and then up again to get Jair Alexander, who we're like, okay, what are we going to do with Jair Alexander? We're going to talk about that topic later. And people that are listening, feel free to chime in, comment. Would love to get your input on some of this stuff. Okay, so then the year later, 2019, we get Rashawn Gary. Rashawn Gary's like one of those, took a bit to develop. Lucas Van Ness. Yep. I know you think Lucas Van Ness is going to show some promise.
Yeah, I mean, the potential's there, right? He's got all the physical traits. He's, and even though Brian Gutekunst said this week that they don't really pay attention to the relative athletic score, you look at their drafts and all of them are like high RAS guys. And Lucas Van Ness is that. He's got the tools. He's kind of a freak. Hopefully this new defensive line coach can unlock some of that. Because I think they've invested so much in the defense since 2018. We haven't seen the fruit yet. Maybe, and we started to at the end of last season, but a lot of that was schemed up pressures, schemed up sacks. So I'm hoping if they can do a lot of like what the Eagles did, where you've got 4 or 5 man pressure.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we'll see. But I'm hopeful.
Oh, dude. Yeah. So absolutely. I'm hopeful as well for Lucas Van Ness. Year later, you get Darnell Savage in 2019. Darnell Savage is he's a good NFL player. Is he a number 1 caliber type? Is he a first round caliber type pick? Do you think
Darnell Savage?
Yeah.
No, I really liked the thought. Like he had the speed, he had the tools, but it just never. But that's the whole thing about the draft. It's a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
Like there's no guarantees.
Right.
These guys could get hurt in training camp, and their career's never the same. So it's all a risk. It's all a gamble. So
absolutely. So here's the thing. You've got and guys, feel free to chime in, comment. I'd love to read through what your thoughts are on Brian Gutekunst. What's up, John? Sweet. This dude, you can always rely on John, man. This guy, he's like one of the most loyal listeners. I love John. Anyways, what's up, man? Super pumped about the Packers. Okay, so we're talking about Brian Gutekunst, and we're talking about, just the history. And historically, I know that you look back at some of their number 1 picks. And I guess as we're going through, you've got Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary. Not bad. Right. Darnell Savage, okay, whatever. Then you've got Jordan Love. Okay. Like, what a pick. Yes, brothers are back. What a pick.
Finally.
So you've got Jordan Love, who, I mean, you've got Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love, and we're going to talk about
Maybe.
Aaron Rodgers. I cannot
Oh.
wait to start talking about that. I get super hyped and pumped up about Aaron Rodgers. So Eric Stokes was in 2021. Okay, so what are your thoughts on Stokes?
That pick angers me to this day, and I think every Packer fan.
One of the worst picks.
Yeah, you had T.J. Watt sitting there, and even when they traded back, he was still available.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Right. So that pick just angered me. I remember texting a friend that night, like they're gonna trade back and they're gonna take Eric Stokes. And I just I'm thinking, sorry, wrong guy.
No, but here's the thing: Stokes sucked. He stuck.
That's not the T.J. Watt draft. I'm sorry.
Stokes is so bad of a player. I cannot stand Stokes. And so John was like, and I can't wait to start talking more and more about this. Emeka Egbuka, he's high on my list. Quite frankly, I know a lot of people, might disagree, and I think he might be one of them. He doesn't want to see the Packers take a wide receiver in the first round, and we're going to start unpacking all of that. I think if the right guy is there, why not? We need a number one caliber type wide receiver in Green Bay.
Yes.
Dontavian Wicks, I talked about it in a previous video. Dontavian Wicks is literally the only guy that is a number one caliber type wide receiver in Green Bay. But
I think exactly right.
Dude, his hands, like,
right.
So bad.
Right. So one of the things that you can point to is Davante Adams, year 2, struggled, and there was calls for Adams to get benched or traded or just outright cut. And the Packers are a patient team, right? They give their guys room to grow and to fail and succeed. And so anyway, I think that the obviously the abilities there, he does remind me of a little bit of a Davante Adams, and I think he even said that he mirrored his game after him.
So I love what you said there, that the Packers draft, they're very patient. Gutekunst historically is known for like looking, at least 3 to 5 years down the road. He's like looking into the future.
Yep.
Even if there's development guys, he's going to take the best guy available. It doesn't mean the best talent available at the moment. It just means the best prospect, the best highest ceiling type guy. TJ Watt, just like taking.
I see John agrees. Davante was a ball drop.
Mandridge over Barry Sanders, dude. Mandridge is like Tony Baloney is like one of the most haunting Packer picks.
Right.
I'd say Eric Stokes is got to be in the conversation of a top 7 most disappointing Packers drafted in the first round.
Do you think injuries like just destroyed his career, derailed his career? Because
Stokes,
Eric Stokes, his rookie year, one of the fastest guys coming out of the draft that season. And initially, when we were talking about this, I was thinking of Kevin King. That's where my mind went, because they kind of like their game resembled a little bit of the similarity there. But like thinking about Stokes, super fast, good athlete, and like one of the best corners. I know Peter Bukowski talks about this a lot on the Locked On Packers podcast, but like Stokes was not just a good corner for a rookie, but he was a good corner, period, for the NFL in his rookie season. And so I think injuries just really derailed that guy's career, lost all his confidence, and he just ultimately.
Dude, absolutely. Do you think that it was the steroids that derailed Mandridge's career? I mean, was it freaking Tony Baloney? So John wrote, Davante was a ball dropping fool early. There was times where I was just throwing stuff. I was so mad at Davante Adams for just dropping so many passes, but we all know what that turned out to be. And Dontavian Wicks kind of reminds me of Davante Adams.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so Tennessee is on the clock. Thanks for the reminder. Tennessee's on the clock. We already know. So Mel Kiper, I revert to him a lot because he's known as this guru, but I think he's kind of an idiot at times, right? So you've got Mel Kiper is saying that he thinks, without a doubt, that the Tennessee Titans are going to go quarterback. We already know that that's probably going to be the case. Cam Ward's going to be, I don't know what everybody's thoughts are about Cam Ward. Cam Ward, in my opinion, if I'm Tennessee, I'm pissed, right? Because it's like they can never get the quarterback position right in Tennessee. And I don't think Cam Ward is going to be the answer in Tennessee that they've been looking for. Like it's almost like Cleveland, really, when you break it down. I mean, they had Baker Mayfield there, let him slip out of their hands. You're seeing what Baker Mayfield's doing with Tampa Bay. I mean, if he gets some talent around him, Baker Mayfield is one of those quarterbacks that I'm waiting for him to fail. It's like every season this dude is doing it. I'm like, hey, this dude's gonna fail. But
yeah.
Yeah,
I was at that game in Green Bay when Baker Mayfield had the game of his career.
7 minutes.
But he's a likable guy, and he had all of the tools in college, and he's bounced around a little bit, but seems to have found his home there in Tampa.
Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely. No, he has found his home in Tampa. So, where is Sanders going to go in the draft? Okay. So, Sanders, in my opinion, so that's a great question because you've got the Cleveland Browns picking number 2, and Shadir Sanders is like one of those guys that I don't think is going to translate well. It's his dad, right? It's everybody knows him for his dad. I don't think I actually think if it were me, and I'm looking at quarterbacks in this draft, I don't like Cam Ward or Shadir Sanders in my opinion. Who do you like?
Quarterback wise, like they're all athletes. Like Jackson Dart is has got a lot of like pocket presence, but he can also go outside and create. There's a guy more towards the end, and I'm trying to remember. He'd be more of a later round pick, but the guy out of Syracuse, Kyle McCord. I think he's like 6'4", 6'5", tall guy, 230, but he's got like a cannon for an arm. And he's got some maneuverability. Everybody gets enamored by these hyper athletic quarterbacks, but they don't typically stick around a whole lot.
Well, I mean, they're looking for why can't I think of his name? Okay, No. Last year's draft, Washington Commanders.
Oh, Jaden
Daniels. So Jaden Daniels, you've got Jaden. They're looking for the next Jaden Daniels because Jaden Daniels was one of the most poised,
awesome,
great quarterbacks to come out of the draft, dude.
Yeah,
he's one of the better, more polished quarterbacks to come out of the draft in a bit. Last year's class of quarterbacks were ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm just looking. Sorry.
Yeah, so
5 minutes left on the clock for Tennessee.
Okay, so John thinks that Shadir Sanders is going to drop. I agree with you. I think Sanders is going to drop. It would be like Cleveland to take him number 2.
Right, I agree.
But I do think that you're going to see a world where the Giants, he slips and the Giants trade up. They trade.
You think the Giants would go for him?
No, they have the 3rd pick, right? So I think the Giants at number 3, I think they're going to go Travis Hunter, unless he's taken right ahead of them. But I think that the Giants are going to draft Travis Hunter with their pick at number 3, and then unless Hunter's gone, and then we're going to see what happens there. Go Pack, go Henry. What's up? I do think Shadir Sanders is going to fall, and I think the Giants trade back into the late 1st round. To go and get him. That's my take on it. John, let me know what your thoughts are on that. I think that's what we're going to end up seeing. Or you could see him go to New Orleans. I mean, at number 9, right? New Orleans is needing a quarterback.
Yeah, that's what I've been reading and hearing is everything like if he drops, he's going to drop to New Orleans.
Yeah.
That team needs a ton of help. They're in cap purgatory for a long time.
Jeez, dude. So, I mean, there's you look at some of these teams that are in there that really need to trade out of the 1st round to get picks because you're right. So you've got Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
You've got and that are just in cap purgatory, like you're saying, just broke as a joke. And then you've got teams that need so much, like the Jets. You've got the Panthers that need so much. You've got the Saints that need a lot, and Saints are a good, talented team. But I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts. So
pick is in for Titans. We're just waiting to see what it is.
All right, pick is in, and it's not going to be.
I'd be shocked if it's not Cam Ward, but.
It's going to be a surprise. Let's check this out. I'm going to turn up the volume. Let me know when the picks come in, and when we hear the boos, I'm going to turn up the volume, and I'm sure everybody's watching it too. And I love the fact that you're here, man. This draft is in Green Bay. How hyped is this, man? This is freaking
awesome.
sweet.
I actually wish I was there.
Oh my gosh, man. I have a few friends that are there right now watching the draft live. Would have loved to have been there.
Yep.
What a scene. What a great thing for Green Bay. Now, I was there late October for a game, and here we go. I mean,
come out with his own 2 feet instead
Can
of
you
2
hear it?
wheels.
let me know if you can hear it.
The first pick of this draft.
Come on. With the first pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tennessee Titans select Cameron Ward.
Oh, wow. What a
go.
surprise. Cameron Ward is off. What is up? TC, where are you from? Go Pack Go. I love it. Let me know where everybody's from. I think, John, if I remember right, you're Minnesota, correct? If I recall. You can hear it.
Okay, good.
That's awesome. Okay, great. That's good to know. Cam Ward is off the clock, or off the board. Miami's quarterback. He led college football top scoring offense to set a few school records in the process. So you know that he's got some talent, but I just don't see it translating and being a very successful NFL quarterback. Let me know your thoughts there. Now, I just don't think Tennessee, it's exactly what they need. Let me know, everybody, what your thoughts are.
Yeah, well, like obviously we talked about the improvisational skills. You know, we're talking about athletic traits.
Yeah.
Unless I'm remembering wrong, Tennessee does not have a very good offensive line. So those skills are going to come in handy, I think, if you're running for his life a little bit.
Yeah.
A lot like Caleb Williams did for the Bears last year, which I hope continues this season.
It won't.
So yeah,
They addressed that. So getting back to that, so Caleb Williams, I hope it does continue, but they addressed that like big time. So you got to give hats off to the GM there.
yeah,
They're doing such good work. The NFC North is just
unfortunately,
absolutely loaded
stacked. Yeah,
with general managers, good coaches, all of that right now.
Yeah,
so
good
I
teams
was
good teams top to bottom, good rosters all across the board.
Oh, dude, I was hoping Eberflus was going to stay in Chicago.
I know.
Eberflus is a joke. Great defensive coordinator. He's not a good coach. He sucks. He really is. He's got a good
Bears.
defensive mind. Now, when I say great, I just mean he's got a good defensive mind.
Yes.
And he just needs to stay in that lane. So Southern Minnesota, let me know where you guys are all from. Love that. Southern Minnesota. Did I send you a shirt last year, John?
I had to eat.
Okay, what? So we've got two Johns. So Red Fox 36, John from Southern Minnesota as well. We got two Southern Minnesota. Man, so born and raised in Minnesota, or are you like converting? You didn't want to be a. Whoa, what do we
Sorry, I
got
didn't mean to
here?
distract you. There was a trade.
What?
Jacksonville traded up.
Jacksonville traded up with Cleveland?
Yeah.
Wow. So Jacksonville trades up with Cleveland. What are they doing there? They're certainly not going quarterback. So Shadir Sanders is not going to be going. Good for Cleveland. That's probably the best thing that they've done in a while. But if it's me, I'm taking Travis Hunter, which means Travis Hunter's probably going to be going to the Giants. What a dual, versatile type threat player that guy is. But let me know what you guys are eating and where you're from. So you got Red Fox 36 from Southern Minnesota, and his name is John as well. You got two Johns from Southern Minnesota tuning in, two Packers. I freaking love it. I'm from Wisconsin. I've lived in Michigan pretty much my whole life. I freaking hate anything to do with
Michigan.
Detroit or any Michigan sports. So for me, I know a lot of Packer fans hate Minnesota with all their hearts, or it's Chicago. But for me, it's always been Detroit, hands down. I cannot stand anything Detroit. I hate the Honolulu Blue. Everything about them is just stupid. Okay, so born and raised in Wisconsin. Pepin, Wisconsin. Where's Pepin, Wisconsin? I don't know. I'm from West Dallas, Wisconsin, suburb right outside Milwaukee.
Yep.
Been in Rochester since 81. Sweet.
Nice.
81. So you've got a trade right now. So that's going to mess the board up dramatically, right?
For sure. Yeah.
Jacksonville feels very strong. And you look at Jacksonville's team, I hate saying this,
They need defensive help bad.
but they also need a running back. I mean, if you look at it,
Could you see them trading up to get
Genty,
Yeah.
So here's the
Or
thing.
Wilson.
I actually thought they were going to be taking a running back in the first round. So do they trade up to number 2 to take a running back? No, I don't think so.
Although the pick is in, we'll see what happens.
Abdul
there.
Carter,
Yeah.
pick is in. I mean, they obviously traded up for a purpose. They know what they want. Carter is one of those guys that they could have traded up to get.
Yeah, he's hands down the best edge defender in the draft. I mean,
Kind of reminds you of like
Awesome.
Micah Parsons, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Geez, I wish the Packers would trade up to get that edge. Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be handy. Yeah, for sure.
So what are the odds of Brian Gutekunst making a trade? Let me know what you think. What are the odds of him making a trade? I think the odds of him trading up are completely zero. But if he were to trade back in the draft, I can actually about 80% sure they're going to do that.
What if they traded up packaged with a Jair trade?
Okay.
I mean, I don't know. I agree with you, Jay. I don't think that's not in that's not usually something that Gutekunst does. Usually if he has traded up, like he traded up to get we were just talking about him, the Maryland safety.
Oh, Stokes?
No, safety.
Oh, Maryland safety. Oh my gosh, King? No,
I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah.
Help us
Let me
out.
know. Help us out if you're out there.
I think John's right though. The trade back, if he
100%.
does trade, yeah, like the opportunity. And Jason and I talked about this. The opportunity to get like maybe an additional second or third round pick and get some good talent, because there's some good talent in the second and third round.
Yeah, tons of talent,
that they could get, right. So
wide receiver, edge. You're seeing, yeah, corner now. Okay, so leave your comments. Let me know who do you want the Packers to take with the first pick. Now, John already said he wants Emeka Egbuka, so he wants the Packers to go wide receiver.
I do too.
I actually
He'll
think
never do it.
I think they're going to go defensive tackle. I really do. With losing Slayton, I really think they're going to go defensive tackle because they're at this crossroads. Do you pick up Devontae Wyatt?
Devontae Wyatt's 5th-year option.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
Okay, pick is in. We're going to hear it.
Walter Payton, Man of the Year from Jacksonville, and he's flanking the commissioner.
While we are here tonight to celebrate the 32 young men entering the NFL.
Okay, now here is when they start on every pick. That's what I hate about the draft. They
Drag it out.
They drag it out, man. And it's just like, hey, I think the Packers biggest fan, or labeled the biggest fan, which is Bull. Because I think there's a lot of awesome fans out there. John's a Buckeye fan, huh? So Emeka Egbuka, dude. Yeah, I mean, so talk to me as a Buckeye fan. His route running. You say right here, he's a precise route runner. That's what I see. And all the film, all the videos I'm seeing, and he catches the ball, right? So I completely agree with you. So here we go.
Really happy with that.
Jacksonville.
First off,
Man.
I'm going to say thank you to the commissioner.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you to the
Just
Payton
say it.
family in the NFL and nationwide. And also, too, tonight I want to encourage each player embarking on the NFL journey to identify a passion close to their heart and act upon it.
Okay.
Use your platform to make your community.
Okay, I'm gonna mute that because it's so annoying for me. I don't know if everybody feels the same way. It just it gets nauseous. It's like going to the Grammys or like hearing it.
Too much.
Okay, here we go. Come on.
We have a trade.
This dude's wanting to talk.
The Cleveland Browns have traded the second pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, we know that.
And with the second pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Travis Hunter.
Okay,
No way.
not surprised. A little bit surprised.
Actually, I am.
I mean, this is a player that can go both ways, right? And primarily he's going to be featured as a corner, I feel. And then you've got a weapon as a wide receiver if you need it. And if you were the Jacksonville Jaguars, you've got Brian Thomas, who I think is ridiculous. That would have been a great pick for the Packers. last year. So you look at, I mean, last year's draft, I mean, that would have been fantastic. But Brian Thomas ended up going a couple picks prior, 23. He goes to obviously the Jacksonville Jaguars. So you got him joining now. So leave your comments. Let me know how surprised are you that they traded up to get a guy like Travis Hunter. What are your thoughts?
Sorry, I was reading a text.
What are your thoughts? So Travis Hunter, dude. I mean,
the best receiver in the draft. Probably the best athlete in the draft.
Best athlete in the draft. I don't think he's the best receiver in the draft. I think he's the best athlete. But
yeah, I mean, the potential's there. Yeah, I don't know. Travis Hunter is awesome player both ways, and I really think that he'll be a game changer for them. He can do anything. Like, he'd be good on end arounds. He'd be good on trying to think. He'd be good. He's just going to be a good all around player for Jacksonville.
Yeah, he is. He's going to be a good player. So kind of surprised he's got work. Yes, for the number 2 pick. I'm a little shocked that they traded up to get him. Now, he's one of those Deion Sanders type athletes where he's just a freak, somebody that can do so much. So for me, John, I know he thinks the best wide receiver in the draft probably is Emeka Egbuka. Let me know who you think, who do you think is?
Honestly, if I had a perfect pick, and I said this to Jay, like, I would pick Luther Burden. He's a Stephon Diggs clone. That guy was a nightmare when he was in Minnesota. He was really good for his first couple seasons in Buffalo until injuries kind of derailed his career here. Ironically, he's a free agent, coming off of an ACL injury, I think. So, if I had a pick, I would take Luther Burden. This speedster, he can do. His route tree might not be as good as Emeka, but he can run. He absolutely fly, and that's what the Packers need.
I've been saying it for quite a while. I really want the Packers to take Emeka Egbuka. Now, I wouldn't be upset if they. Burden's not going to fall to the Packers. That's just not going to. What's that?
I said maybe they'll trade up.
Yeah, they're going to trade up. I don't think he's falling to the Packers.
I don't think he's trade up worthy, honestly. Like,
no,
that's not somebody like in years past where there's been like really deep receiver drafts. This is not one of those seasons.
Trade up worthy in the draft right now for me, it would be Abdul Carter now, and you're going to see him go next to the Giants. Be shocked if he doesn't go to the Giants. Now, Abdul Carter is one of those guys that's a freak athlete, a Micah Parsons type guy that any team would love to have. The Packers would love to have a good edge rusher opposite of Rashawn Gary. So, so I think my dad is listening and he's talking about Tony Mandridge here.
But we were talking about like first round flops, and he said that in 1980 the Packers drafted. They had the 4th overall pick, and they took Bruce Clark, a defensive end who refused to play for Green Bay.
Seriously?
Yeah, and they ended up playing his entire career in the Canadian Football League. But going back, like the Packers were so bad back then.
Okay, so wow, Bruce Clark, man, Howard, well said, man. You need to put that in the comments. Like, we need to get something going in the comments here with a guy like Bruce Clark, drafted in 1980. And it refuses to play for the Packers. That's awesome. That's hilarious because you've got, talking about basketball, and I'm only going to talk about it for a hot second, but Wisconsin Badgers, big Wisconsin Badgers fan in basketball, loved him. And then you had Rashawn Griffith, who I was so pumped up as a Milwaukee Bucks fan. I was like, okay, Rashawn Griffith, Packers drafted him. They never drafted.
The Bucks drafted Rashad Griffith or whatever.
Yeah. So they never draft anybody, from their home state. It seems like no matter who it is. Like, you look at the Packers. The Packers should have taken Watt. They should have drafted T.J. Watt. They didn't. I was super pumped. A homer. You're going to stay in Green Bay.
Yep.
They don't. They go the opposite route. And so, anyways, going back to Rashawn Griffith.
Yep.
He refuses to play for the Bucks because he says he wants to go to Turkey to improve his footwork. And never comes back, never shows up again. And I'm like, are you serious?
It's a beautiful place.
Yeah, dude. And that was the year that Michael Finley was there. If you guys remember that, I don't know if that's before some of everybody's time or if you don't like basketball or whatever, but Michael Finley, Rashawn Griffith, Giants are on the clock, and you're going to have Giants probably taking. I don't know how much time is left on the clock. The pick is in.
Yeah,
Okay, so the pick is in.
We don't know. It could be another 5 minutes.
It's got to be Carter. There's no way they take Shedeur Sanders here. I would be shocked if they go Sanders route because they're probably thinking quarterback here too, because their last quarterback they drafted was Daniel Jones. So if you were the Giants,
you got to have a replacement potentially for Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
And yeah, talk about a career that just completely derailed.
Yeah, my gosh, dude.
Huge trade to Denver, which the Packers missed out on that one, trading Rodgers to Denver for that boatload of picks. Like,
yeah, can you imagine? Like
a treasure chest of picks.
Seriously.
Yeah. So I can understand where you're coming
Did
from.
they already pick?
They did.
Yeah, they did. They took. Okay, I missed it. Sorry about that. I missed it. You guys probably saw it. So not a shock. You've got Abdul Carter off. He's going to the Giants. The Giants, you got to like what they're doing there. I really do. I mean, I like what they're doing. I actually think Russell Wilson's a good quarterback. I mean, look at what he did.
When I think of Russell Wilson, I remember the Fail Mary.
Yeah,
and that game just makes me so angry.
Oh, geez,
and that kind of started his whole career. And he was that Seahawks team just.
Henry, John, Red Fox, what are you guys eating for the draft? You got to have something you're eating for the draft. We're having buffalo chicken dip for the draft, and I'm about ready to have some. I'm super hungry. I'm smelling it. Henry, they did pick Carter. Why do you say no? Were you hoping that he was going to fall to the Packers? Popcorn and milk duds.
Actually, that's probably a pretty good combo.
Wow, that's awesome. I actually really like that. It's like watching a movie.
Like when we go to the movies.
Yeah.
My wife and I will do like butter popcorn, and then we were doing Reese's Pieces, which was a weird combo, but it actually was really good.
So John's got some good dip in. Wait, I've got a dip in and smoking some good smoke. Love it. That's awesome, man. All right, so you've got the next one on the clock is the Patriots. The Patriots are one of those teams that you're like, okay, they need some help. The Patriots are actually
player available for the Patriots. They have nobody.
Yeah, offensive tackles, they really need an offensive lineman. And when you look at offensive linemen, best, offensive lineman available in this draft, you probably got, number one, and I don't know, probably a lot of people's LSU, Will Campbell.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to go to the Patriots because they do. I mean, they've got their quarterback there. I don't mind what's going on with the Patriots. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean they definitely they're starting over from scratch.
Yeah.
The best way to do that would be to build from the trenches, right?
Yeah.
So makes sense to take a dominant tackle. Also the tackle from Missouri, Membu. I don't know is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
But like an athletic freak. And if you're looking for somebody to kind of solidify that left side, to me that would be the guy.
Western UP Pack played an exhibition game. Wait, what? You played an exhibition game? 1938 with Hudson? Come on, that's made up. Are you serious? Vikings fan to the left of us, Lions to the right, stuck in the middle with the Packers.
So is he?
Come on,
is he saying he played in an exhibition?
Are you saying you played? Gimme Gitchy. Get you gaming. Man, if that's the case, man, that's gotta come on, man. Is that real?
I mean,
Western UP
could be.
So Western UP, man. So I've if you're
he's saying that they played an exhibition game there in 1938.
Oh, I was like,
okay, there you go.
Played an exhibition game here in 1938 with Hudson. I got to learn how to read.
Okay, that's where he's at. Yeah, we got you, John. Yeah, sorry. That's pretty cool. I did not know they played up in the UP. That's pretty amazing.
Man, Upers are Packer fans, and I love it. I mean,
how is the UP not part of Wisconsin?
Yeah,
I've never understood that.
Yeah,
like it's attached to Wisconsin, and somehow Michigan claims it because they're attached by a bridge. I don't know.
Yeah, the Mackinac Bridge, and not a fan at all of. So you're saying you've got Minnesota and then Detroit. So you landed in the middle with the Packers, and wow, what a choice to be a Packer fan, because Minnesota, that annoying horn,
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like, oh man, everything about the Minnesota Vikings. Now, when Brett
That's
Favre,
why I hate them so much.
when Brett Favre went there, you know, like what were your thoughts when Brett Favre went there?
I remember some family fights.
Yeah.
Like, it was, some people sided with Favre and some people sided with the Packers. I won't say who, but
I love Brett Favre.
Oh man,
Brett Favre was one of those iconic, blue collar type quarterbacks that you
He fit Green Bay
loved to
perfectly.
love. The dude was like the most exciting quarterback probably ever to play the game. I mean, correct me if
you
I'm
like
wrong.
interceptions, yes, exciting.
Come on, dude.
Really
Are you kidding me?
exciting.
Dude, I mean, like, do you
Henry.
remember him like going and laying out like Warren Sapp, doing stuff like that?
Yeah, like,
Slapping guys on the ass. Like it was awesome. I loved it. It was
he did. Yeah, that is true. Like, for that kind of stuff, he was awesome. He was fun. He was like a fun guy to watch do an interview.
yeah.
Just because he was just a normal guy. Like, he didn't really care how things sounded. So, yeah, I mean, Brett Favre was an awesome quarterback, but I think just like a down to earth guy.
So John's like, okay, so Brett Favre's plaque came off my wall when he signed with the Vikings,
Yeah,
which
100%, man. My parents had a fat head, huge, just like that, on their wall in the basement, and I defaced it for sure that day.
man, yes, it was super annoying, but then I really honestly, let's be honest, Aaron Rodgers is holding out. We already know that. Aaron Rodgers is holding out to follow in Brett Favre's footsteps and play in Minnesota. And that was, I said it when Aaron Rodgers
I don't
was
even want to think about it.
it was he was cut by the Jets, right? And we all know how that happened. So you've got Aaron Rodgers wanting to follow in Brett Favre's footsteps, go to the Vikings, and
Don't even say this.
and if that's the best fit for him, gives him the best chance to win the Super Bowl. The second best chance to win the Super Bowl would be with Pittsburgh, and he, for whatever reason, and I'm going to go on a soapbox a little bit later on when we get closer to the Pittsburgh Steelers pick, but I would love to talk about the whole Aaron Rodgers just completely effing over the Pittsburgh Steelers fan base, the Pittsburgh Steelers organization, because that changes the whole trajectory of what they do today. Because you've got, who we talked about it, Pickens. Pickens is trade bait right now, and there's rumors that he's going to the Green Bay Packers. Do you want him in Green Bay? Leave your comments. Do you want him in Green Bay?
I would love to see George Pickens in Green Bay. Honestly, he's kind of a head case. We talked about that. He's a drama queen, but there isn't a lot of tolerance for that in Green Bay.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Rodgers kind of forcing his way out. Like John, I agree with you. You said if Rodgers goes to the Queens, he's dead to me, and I agree. Like, Rodgers is my absolute, hands down, best quarterback I've ever watched play.
He
ever.
is. He's the most talented dude. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and everybody talks about Mahomes, how talented he is. Like, Mahomes learned everything that he does from Rodgers. Rodgers was doing the sidearm no-look passes before Mahomes even entered the league.
Sorry to interrupt. I'd love to let's pick his
The
in.
New England Patriots select Will Campbell.
Okay.
Tackle.
Yep, exactly.
All right,
like
so
you thought.
it's going as we thought for the most part, with the exception of the Jacksonville
Straight up.
Jaguars trading up. But
Yeah.
get back to the Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers, just the most fun quarterback. It was like watching a robot half the time, because like you knew he was going to do everything perfectly, exactly the way it should be done. And nobody did it better. Nobody threw a better ball than Rodgers. And I hated to see the way that things ended. So if, for whatever reason, that drama just follows him, and he is surrounded by drama, and him doing what he is doing to Pittsburgh. I mean, I don't know a scenario how he can go there.
So one of his boys, right? You got Devontae Adams. So Devontae Adams, I don't know if everybody heard about it, read about it, but did you hear what Devontae Adams just recently came out and
No.
said? So he's like, Devontae Adams, his boy, is like, Aaron Rodgers he needs to be in the limelight. We already know that about him.
Yes.
I mean, and that was the beginning of the end for him in Green Bay when he was doing the drama. Am I going to play him? Am I not going to play? And then he said he's waiting for the Pittsburgh Steelers to roll out the red carpet, and that's why he hasn't signed yet.
Oh,
Now,
come on.
Aaron
I did.
Rodgers went on Pat McAfee and he was just like, listen, I've already said I'm willing to play for 10 M's. I'm cool with playing for 10 M's, and he wants to play for 10 M's with the
Why didn't he do
Minnesota
that in Green
Vikings.
Bay? Why didn't he do that in Green Bay? That pisses me off.
We could have built so much talent around.
Gosh.
So you got Pickens is a stud. He is a head case. He's a stud, but he's a number 1 wide receiver. That's exactly what the Packers need but he's coming up on his last year of the contract, which means the Packers are going to be forced to throw a bunch of money at him if he works out. If he causes a bunch of drama and crap, Gutekunst, I mean, this would be a great 1-year trial type. I mean, so what?
Why
Yeah,
not?
I mean, why not? Yeah, we'll give you Jair, and then we'll take Pickens. Or do you want Jair and screw Pickens? Like, what are your thoughts there?
Honestly, if I had to pick between the two, I would love to keep Jair if he's healthy.
Keep talking.
If he's healthy, because Jair is an all-pro corner. The last full healthy season he played, he was an all-pro corner, 2-time all-pro. So ideally, I'd love to, and you can't replace players like that. You can scheme up receivers a little bit, and the Packers have done a good job of that with LaFleur. Pickens is a stud. He can catch just about anything. But honestly, if I had to pick between the two, and if Jair's head was right and his body stayed healthy for the entire season, I would take Jair.
I completely agree. Jair is one of those special type of performers. I love the cockiness. I love the edge. I love the
You
attitude.
got to be.
You've got to be. It's just too bad his injuries, and I think he's one of those players that unless he's 100%, he's not going to go out there and give you anything,
right?
Because he's going to sit out, and that's just the unfortunate thing with Jair. So it's like, okay, do you keep a guy that hasn't played against the line since 2022? Like, do you keep a guy that my most hated team, the Detroit Lions, and yet he can't go out there and cover the best wide receiver out there?
Right. Because even though the Packers don't like to do it, he is a matchup corner. Like, he can follow the best receiver around, and he can just completely take him out of the game.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can't replace a guy like that. So,
do I think that Jair gets traded during the draft? Gosh, man. Knowing Brian Gutekunst, no, I don't think he does. Now, I think he's certainly trying to work it.
yeah.
But I think maybe what Gutekunst wants, his return on investment, is he's going to ask for a little bit too much that somebody's willing to give for a hurt corner. That's one of the best in the game when he's healthy. But
I could see a scenario, maybe like 3rd, 4th round pick. They trade him for a 3rd or 4th round pick, and that's maybe where the Packers pick up an extra pick in the draft.
Yeah,
potentially. I don't necessarily see it as a trade up option, but maybe another trade in the middle rounds of the draft.
So Henry says one can only hope. So are you saying that you hope that the Packers trade Jair
or get Pickens?
Like, what do you wouldn't accept under a second for him, Henry said, for Jair? Is that what you're saying? Because there was rumors that the Baltimore Ravens were going to give the Packers 2 4th rounds. I don't think that was an accurate rumor. I think that was just more Bleacher Report sending out like, hey, here's what would I take 2 4th round picks? Frick yeah, for Jair, 2 4th round picks all day long.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, maybe.
I
think that there's some good talent in the like I said, in 3rd, 4th rounds, 2nd or 4th rounds of the draft. There's some good talent, defensive tackles, super deep, as well as offensive line. So the Packers traditionally do a good job in those middle rounds with offensive line and with the defensive line in the middle rounds. So, like TJ Slayton, like he was, I believe, a 5th round pick.
Yeah, he was
for them.
They
out of Florida,
dude.
So
Gutekunst draft's great. Yeah, later rounds. Gutekunst is at his finest, in my opinion. So you've got the Jacksonville. What's that?
Henry.
Oh, Henry said, "Hey, I hate Jair. He reminds me of a bully that I had." And you know what? Honestly, that's Jair, and you're right. I mean, that's what he does. Did I miss a pick?
We did. Mason Graham.
Wow.
Defensive tackle for Michigan.
I mean, it doesn't surprise me that Cleveland. I'm surprised that he went to Cleveland. That's what I'm surprised. Am I surprised that he went 5th? I had him going 5th in this draft, anyways. But am I surprised that Cleveland traded back to get Mason Graham out of Michigan? Crazy talented defensive tackle.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm shocked. So a little bit
That
surprised.
Defensive line, that front seven for Cleveland's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, so I guess if Cleveland's wanting their defense to set the tone, then it's a absolutely great pick.
Sure.
I hate Jair. That's what going back to that with Henry saying that. Jair Alexander is one of those guys that you love the cockiness because you as a corner, you almost have to, because you look at the corners and wide receivers are the two biggest divas on the field.
Yes.
And so you've got to have this chip on your shoulder, this mentality of all right, it's me against the world. And Jair certainly has that type of attitude. I don't like it necessarily because I think his cockiness gets him into trouble a lot of times. But he's talented. So you've got the Raiders on the clock, and there's rumors. There's no rumors, but I think that they could go running back.
Yeah.
They could go Genty, which then the Chicago Bears would be super pissed about. And I would love that because then the Bears are stuck with Swift, right? And Swift sucks as running back, in my opinion.
Yeah, he's just a bruiser.
They bolstered their offensive line. Speaking of the Chicago Bears, they bolstered their offensive line, which, that's great for them. I'm pissed because they literally, that was their crutch, was their offensive line. And so they get Ben Johnson in town from Detroit, which, by the way, leave your comments about Detroit. I think Detroit takes a step back. There's no way you lose Aaron Glenn, you lose, Ben Johnson, and then
I don't think that's being talked about enough.
Honestly. No, it's not, dude. Yeah. It's funny. You talk to any Lions fan around here because I'm freaking surrounded with them, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, the Lions are gonna, it's Dan Campbell's team anyways.
They won the division twice in the last 40 years.
My gosh, dude,
and it happens to be back to back.
Give me a freaking break. Yeah, So I don't know what's worse: living in Minnesota, being surrounded by Minnesota fans, or living in Detroit with a bunch of delusional fools that think that the Detroit Lions are the absolute greatest thing. Screw the Bears. Yeah, screw the Bears.
I agree, John, on both of them.
And screw the Jude. Do you not mind the Lions? Because for me, I freaking screw them all. Thank you.
There you go. That's my take.
That's what yes. The Green Bay Packers are one of those teams that they've got Jay Smooth, baby, coming in. Go Pack, go. Jay Smooth. I think I know who that is.
Who is that? I have no idea.
I think do you live in Michigan, Jay Smooth? I think I know who this is. Go Pack, go. So Jay Smooth, who do you think the Packers? What position? Let's just put it this way: what position do you want the Packers to take?
First round.
Yeah.
Yes.
What position? So leave your comments. Let me know. John says wide receiver. Leave your comments. Where do you want the Packers to go?
Red Fox.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Yes.
That would be great.
So Jay Smooth, do you go to Cops at all on 76th and Layton? Man.
Yeah. That's
Cops.
my favorite place to go.
Cops is like one of the best places to go. Mamma Mia's Pizza, some classics there in Milwaukee.
At least classics for us.
Or West Dallas. I mean, classics for us.
Yeah.
Are you downtown Milwaukee? Are you suburbs? I mean, I'd like to say I'm from Milwaukee, but I'm from West Dallas. Okay, so what do we got? The Raiders pick is in.
With the 6th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Las Vegas Raiders select
Genty.
Ashton
There we
Genty.
go.
Oh my gosh.
Which is good.
Okay.
Nice trickle-down effect for the Bears.
Okay, so Smooth wants wide receiver for the Packers, but I could see them going D.
100%
I
agree
really,
with
you Cops Burgers.
There you go. Cops Burgers. That's
Is
right.
there not a better
No, there's
burger?
not.
Man,
It's
can we
best.
not get one for the draft? I mean, gosh, wouldn't that be
Should've
great?
drove to Milwaukee today. and
Dude,
brought
you
one.
know that we've literally driven to Milwaukee just for Cops Burgers and stuff. Like that's no joke. And we live 4 hours away.
Yeah.
That's and their custard, of course. Okay, South Side Milwaukee. Okay. So I once was a Raiders fan, says Henry.
Yeah, when was that?
Raiders, man,
It's a
you know,
disaster of a franchise.
yeah, that's just been a
Really
bad
is.
franchise. So then you've got,
Oh, I
so
love Genty.
you got Josh Jacobs coming from the Raiders, and
Yep.
Josh Jacobs was the best running back they've had in a while.
Yep.
And then you've got now replaced with Genty, who they needed to replace the big shadow that Josh Jacobs left. And I'm super pumped that he is a Packer.
Oh yeah,
I know a lot of
big
people.
upgrade from Aaron Jones. in
Dude,
my
he
opinion.
is.
Yes.
He absolutely
upgrade.
is. I was pumped when they got it, and
Yep.
I know a lot of Packer fans out there. And you know, speaking of, you know,
I
him
would have
going-
liked to have seen like the two of them play together, the
That's
Jones
what I thought.
and which has kind of happened for about 20 minutes, and then they decided to cut Aaron Jones. But yeah, to me that was a big upgrade. Uh-oh.
Marshawn Lloyd.
Somebody said evil has entered the chat.
Go Lions. Come on. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, dude. So we got a Lions fan on here. He's probably coming on to give us some hate. I was just bashing the Lions so
You missed
bad,
it. That's too
so
bad.
hardcore. You really missed it. Man, the Lions. Okay, so geez, you just completely lost my train of thought. What was I just saying?
I have no idea.
Man, the Lions. Okay, so Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, we were talking Josh Jacobs. Yep.
Josh Jacobs leaves leaves the Raiders. They get Genty. So Genty is one of those special backs, and you know, I couldn't be happier right now that he's going to the Raiders.
Yep.
Because he was going to be going to the Bears otherwise. The Bears made it well known that they were going to be going that. Now I think
Yeah.
the Bears are probably going to go offensive line, continue on that trend
Yeah,
to
they need
continue
to,
going
right.
offense. Dude, they've loaded up though. I mean, they went out and they traded for two guys that I wanted in Green Bay. So they got two offensive line free agents that were in there. Raymond, awesome, super pumped that you're on. Can you remind
Maybe
me
they'll take
where
a
you are
quarterback.
from? I'm so glad Genty won't be with the Bears. Couldn't agree more. You know, honestly, yes, Howard Ball is on. That's my dad.
What's up, Pop?
One of the most loyal Packer fans you'll be around. All the NFC North teams, he says, want to be Packers, and that is
No.
for you, Shoe Company, who said go Lions. Come on here, man.
Okay.
So be realistic. So how do you really think this division's gonna wrap up? Okay, so you've got last year the standings went Detroit, Minnesota, or was
Yeah, Detroit, Minnesota, Green Bay, and that
Detroit,
was
Minnesota.
just like an unreal, like
that's right, because
like
Minnesota.
a once in a lifetime type season for that division. And you're never going to see that. I shouldn't say never,
Well-
but you're not going to see that happen again.
Is there a world where all four teams make what? Why are the Lions on the thing right now? Jets pick is in. Okay, so is there a world where you see all four teams make the playoffs? Because the Chicago Bears, you hate saying it, they're super talented as it stands right now. Now, I mean, they've got the players, they got the personnel. Their one big hiccup was their offensive line. They've addressed that in free agency.
I think that's where they'll go in the draft too. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you think they're going to go? So you've got the Jets that are on the board right now. Their pick is in. Man, it's hard. It's hard to see what the Jets need because they need a whole lot. Aaron Glenn is there. I think Aaron Glenn's going to do a pretty decent job. But then you hear what Aaron Rodgers was saying. Now, who knows if what Aaron Rodgers was saying was factual or not? But you hear they flew him all the way to New York. Did you hear about this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they fly him to New York, Aaron Rodgers, and then just to say, have a 15-minute meeting to be like, hey, listen, you know, sorry, but not sorry.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah.
You're not a New York Jet anymore, which I think is crazy. Yeah, he is going to be one of those cheerleader type coaches. I completely agree. That's how
That's
he
why I
ran.
see them going trenches somewhere. Like I could see them they need offensive line help. Terrible. Like that.
Okay.
Honestly, I think was the biggest reason that the Jets team got derailed.
Yeah.
With or without Rodgers. So the season that Rodgers didn't play and the season that he did, it was kind of the same quarterbacks running for their life. So I could see them taking Membu probably, but
I think you're right. I think they are going to go Membu. And you've got
how do you say his name?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's how you say his name. So you got Justin Fields. You got Justin Fields as their quarterback
I love
there.
it.
So you've got Justin Fields, former Chicago Bear. I really hated to see him go and leave Chicago.
I loved him in Chicago. It was great.
He actually did okay with Pittsburgh
Yeah,
prior to Russell Wilson then taking over I think they were like give or take whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't really matter which one was in there. You were going to get the same result.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think they do go offensive line here. I think Membu is off the board for the Jets. I really think that's going to be the case.
But I think I want to go back to what you were going to say.
Yeah.
I derailed you, but you were going to ask about like what you think that like the order of finish for this 2025 season for the NFC North is going to be.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I didn't mean to.
No, let's talk about that. Throw that in. R.I.P. Queen Elizabeth. Did she die?
I don't know.
Okay, so you've got I hope the Packers.
So John Johnson says it'll be Green Bay, Minnesota, Detroit, Bears. I would love that finish. That would be great. I do think Minnesota is going to be sneaky good, just like they were last year. I think they have a really good head coach.
John, are you saying that because you think Aaron Rodgers is just holding out for Minnesota?
That happens, so help me.
Is JJ McCarthy the answer in Minnesota? I think he's too raw, too young. I did think he was the best NFL ready quarterback coming out of the draft, and I was, and he was having a really good preseason for the Minnesota Vikings. And you already saw what Sam Darnold did there. I mean, Sam Darnold, he's not a good quarterback. He's not a good quarterback.
We'll see. I mean, like, how old was he last year? 27, 28?
Yeah, something like that.
Right. It usually doesn't take players 7 years to figure it out. So I think, in my opinion, it was just like the best scenario possible in Minnesota. You have great receivers, good tight end, good running back.
With the 7th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Armand Mimbu, Missouri.
Armand Mimbu, you were completely right. And here's, this is what the Jets had to do. What is up? Winston joined Packers. Are you a big Packer fan?
Oh,
let me know where you're from in the comments. Just joined. Winston would love to know where everybody's from and what you're eating for the draft. So Henry, let me know what you're eating. I don't think you ever let me know. Howard, what are you eating? John is smoking. And you've got Raymond, I don't know if you're still there. If you're still there, where are you watching? I mean, like, what are you eating? And where are you from? Sorry. I forget where you're from. Okay, so you've got the next pick that is in. You've got the Panthers that are on the clock, and the Panthers need everything.
Yeah.
Right. And
except quarterback.
So here's the thing with their quarterback there, and I thought, why is his name escaping me? Ohio State.
Their quarterback?
Yeah.
No, he was Alabama's quarterback. The Panthers?
Yeah. Who is it? Who's the Panthers quarterback? Can somebody put that in
my size? He's like 5'7".
Yeah, no. I thought he was absolutely terrible.
Looks so small.
In the Packers defense. Oh my gosh. Do you remember they made him look like a freaking hero, and that was his only good game of the year. And then they benched him last year.
Yep. He
comes back stronger than ever. Blake is here. What is up? Cookies are coming in 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? That's what's up. Okay, so
what about Will Johnson?
Yeah. Okay, so where do you see the Panthers? What do you see them taking? You think Will Johnson? You think they go corner out of Michigan?
Tight end.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Maybe some help for their corporate.
Wouldn't surprise me. Carolina had the worst defense in a lot of categories, including, just so many facets. So I think they go defense here. So Will Johnson, is that one of the players that they go with? Do they go defense? Jalen Walker is one of those players that I think that might go to the Panthers. I guess we're going to see here in a second, but okay. So going back to Brian Gutekunst, I think Henry said, I hope he doesn't screw the pooch. Somebody said that when it comes to Gutekunst's picks in the draft. Now, when we
Yeah.
start talking about first round picks,
Yeah,
now
first round's
we
shaky.
went through Jair Alexander. We talked about Rashawn Gary. We talked about Darnell Savage. We
Darnell
talked
Savage.
Huh?
Sorry, Darnell
Yeah.
Savage. That's the guy I couldn't remember his name.
Yeah. We talked about Jordan Love, and then you get 2 first round picks back in 2022.
Yep.
And then the Packers went Georgia boys.
Yeah.
And they go Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt. Do you want the Packers to pick up 5th-year options on either or both of those guys, including Christian Watson? I'm curious what everybody's thoughts are on there. So you got Christian Watson. Do we pick up a 5th-year option on a guy who's been completely hurt all the time? Like,
Well,
ACL
he
injury.
was a second-year pick, so second-round pick. So
Oh, yeah.
he's not
Yeah,
eligible
you're right.
for that. But
You're
yeah, but for like Quay Walker,
for
Devontae
Walker
Wyatt,
and Wyatt. Yeah.
I actually think that the Packers are going to re-sign Quay Walker. I think the way that he played the second half of last season showed what he could truly be. And then you pair him with Edgerrin Cooper. And I mean, if the Packers take, there's a couple decent mid-round linebackers that if the Packers were to take one of those guys, I mean, talk about probably the best linebacking trio in the NFL. So, you know, I actually like Quay Walker, which is usually not what a lot of Packer fans say, but Devontae Wyatt.
So wait a second. So when you say you like Quay Walker, are you
do.
saying you like the fact that he's so athletic? He's an athletic freak, or do you like what he could be if he was on the edge or
I
something
think both,
like that?
right? I think both,
Yeah.
right? He's I prefer Edgerrin Cooper at the middle linebacker and have him playing like outside, but I think the tools are there, and I think we started to see it come together at the end of last season. So honestly, I've been a huge Quay Walker fan since the day they drafted him. I really like him.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, for me, I think if I had to, you're right. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. Do you? I actually like Wyatt. I think they go defensive tackle. I think the Packers draft defensive tackle, but
it depends where on the line that they play. Like, so if you're taking like a 5-tech,
did I miss a pick? No,
no,
Carolina's on. Okay.
But so if the Packers take like somebody like a Walter Nolan or maybe a smaller, like a 6'4", 6'5", 300-pound defensive lineman, then obviously like there's your replacement for Devontae Wyatt. But I think if they go bigger, if they go somewhere like the Michigan defensive tackle, help me out.
Grant?
Yeah. If they go Grant, or if they go Ohio State's defensive tackle, I think then you see your Kenny Clark replacement, honestly. So I think this draft's going to tell a lot where they go with defensive tackle. If they pick up that 5th-year option, or if they decide to part ways in the next year or two with Kenny Clark.
No, I think you're right. So real quick, Red Fox said he's eating pizza, which is there a better food to eat when you're watching sports than pizza? Like for me, it's the greatest thing. And then beer. What is that? Shell's Cave Age beer. I've never had that. Is that only sold by you? Is that a local craft beer? Okay, pick is in. Here we go.
Commissioner with the 8th overall pick. First one for the Panthers tonight.
With the 8th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft,
Jalen Walker.
the Carolina Panthers select Teteroa McMillan.
No way.
Whoa.
Wide receiver.
What?
That was really early. There was talk of him going top 10. There was talk of him going top 10, and that was, I think, a player a lot of Packers fans and podcasters wanted to drop to Green Bay.
Well, I mean, you know, McMillan's off the board. Yeah, I mean, that would have been. I'm kind of surprised, but not. So that gives a weapon for Carolina's quarterback. Who is Carolina's quarterback? Why can't I think of? Does anybody know? Leave it in the comments. It's going to drive me nuts.
So forgettable.
He sucks. I think he's absolutely terrible. And when he came into the NFL, I'm like, this dude sucks. You know, and I honestly don't. I think the same thing kind of for Cam Ward. I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback.
Well, he's not a small body. Like,
all right, we're going to look it up.
Bryce Young.
Bryce Young. Yes,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Okay, so Bryce Young, I think he's an absolutely terrible quarterback. Yeah, and that's it, when he played when the Packers defense made him look so good, it pissed me off so much because our D coordinator,
Yeah.
it was horrendous. I mean, like to see him leave. Joe Barry he still haunts me. I think I still have bad dreams of Joe
He made
Barry's
every quarterback
defense.
look good.
Do you remember it was like back to back to back games where
yeah.
Joe Barry's defense was like, I think it was Baker Mayfield put up like stupid
I was
numbers.
at that game.
Oh, you were?
I was at
Oh
that
man.
game.
Oh geez, you had to have been so pissed.
I was.
Saints are going to be on the clock, and I think the Saints are going to be going Shadir Sanders. So I
would
do
agree
think
with that.
Sanders does go off. So earlier, so John had asked, where do I think Sanders goes? He's either going to the Saints or he's dropping, and the Giants are trading up to take Sanders. That's what I think happens. Bryce Young, though, came back. So I do have to give him somewhat of props because he gets benched. He comes back. The Carolina Panthers all of a sudden were like a surprise team.
Yeah, right.
And they do need a lot. And I think that taking a wide receiver and McMillan, I think is going to help him out.
Yeah,
I
so
mean-
like Bryce Young, obviously he's a smaller guy. I don't think he's like a game-changing athlete, but like if you go back to when he played at Alabama, he was all ball placement. He's an accurate quarterback. You know, smaller quarterbacks that were successful like that.
Yeah.
You look at like Drew Brees, he was under 6 foot. I'm not saying that he's going to be Drew Brees, but you need to have talent around you. You have to have a good offensive line. You have to have weapons. To be able to make that work. Same thing with like Russell Wilson, but he had the athleticism to escape stuff. But he also had amazing talent around him, weapons to throw to, and when he had Marshawn Lynch to hand the ball off to, like they're just amazing football team. So smaller quarterbacks, I think, can do fine. They just got to have the people,
The
to
right
surround
person
them.
around him. Yeah, absolutely.
And Bryce Young might not be done.
So leave your comments also. So favorite Packer of all time. Curious what everybody thinks out there. So favorite Packer of all time. It could be Brett Favre. It could be Aaron Rodgers. I know, I see that. That's why I said boo.
Oh, nice.
Could be Aaron Rodgers. Could be, for me, it's Brett Favre. Actually, it's not. It's Reggie White. I misspoke. Reggie White is my favorite Packer of all time.
Yeah. Non-quarterback, like it's easy to pick quarterback, I think, because that's what everybody focuses on. Like if you're going quarterback, I take Aaron Rodgers all day, any day. But like non-quarterback, yeah, I think Reggie White. But then Charles Woodson, one of my just like absolute
Woodson,
favorite
dude.
players ever.
What a game changer!
Yeah, he completely changed that Packers team.
Yeah.
Ted Thompson taking him in free agency. Another guy that did not want to come to Green Bay. But he had nowhere else to go, and so the Packers picked him up and ended up winning Defensive Player of the Year. Like he just a cool guy. And just an amazing football player. Yeah.
No, you're completely right. Donald Driver is Red Fox's. Like Donald Driver was a steady Eddie.
Oh yeah, he was just fun.
But so that was Brett Favre's. Like that was the number one wide receiver to throw to. Is Donald Driver a number one wide receiver?
He wasn't. No,
he's not.
No, he was a 7th round pick, but like he just knew how to get open.
He did, and he worked out so good. Jordy Nelson was one of those guys that Jay Smoot says that's his favorite Packer of all time. Jordy Nelson, man, he's your quarterback's dream of a wide receiver that you would want. Frankie says
Reggie White. Yeah,
Reggie White.
That's a good one.
Shout out to Reggie, dude. One of the hump move. What can you imagine? So Reggie White, didn't he dislocate his shoulder or something
His
in a
elbow,
game?
Yeah, and he played with one arm basically and was
Yeah.
throwing the Dallas Cowboys offensive lineman around with one arm.
Can you imagine if there's anybody out there right now? So Saints pick is in. We're going to talk about that here in a second because I think they go Sanders here. I really do. I think they go quarterback. But can you imagine players playing through the type of injuries the old school players played back then? I want to hear the Saints pick, and we're going to talk about that here in a second.
With the 9th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New Orleans Saints select Kelvin Banks Jr., tackle, Texas.
Okay, they go
Surprise.
tackle. So Kelvin
where's
Banks.
Shadir Sanders going to fall to?
He goes now. I think he falls later into the draft. The Giants trade up to get him. That's what I think happens. And the Giants,
Which goes back like what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Or at the beginning of the night was that the Giants trade back up in the first round.
So Kelvin Banks, I don't think is the best available tackle. I really don't. I think Josh Simmons is a better tackle. And this is a topic I want to get back to that. What were we talking about, Frick?
Best
Okay.
Packers.
Playing through. Playing through
yeah.
injuries. Okay, so you've got a guy like Jair Alexander who 2 years ago, not this last year, 2 years ago, he had that weird shoulder injury that nobody knew what it was. Matt LaFleur doesn't put him on the IR because it's like he's week to week. And then it's like, and the same thing happened this last year with his knee. And it's like he's week to week, and all of a sudden you find out that he
needs surgery.
He needs surgery, and he not tore his ACL, but it was, what was that?
The PCL or the MCL? It was one of those. Yeah, it was like a partial tear.
Yeah, it was partial tear.
Hoping that it could heal just on its own.
Okay, so Dart, he bets to the Saints. Dart's the best quarterback in this draft, in my opinion.
Old school Jim Taylor, favorite Packer.
Yeah. So Kelvin Banks Jr., he goes to. I'm kind of surprised about that because I don't think he's the best available guard. Okay, so Jim Taylor, man, yeah, Frank.
Yeah.
I mean, just the old school guys they played through everything. And nowadays, it's like you have a hangnail, and it's like you need a week to recover. So
everybody's softer now.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's so. Anyways, Josh Simmons, in my opinion, is one of the best tackles, but he's coming off of an injury, and he's got that happening for him. So if he falls to 23, how pissed are you going to be?
Don't even say it.
If Gutekunst goes Jordan Morgan, then Josh Simmons back-to-back year at tackles, quote-unquote tackles, because Jordan Morgan is not a tackle. He's a guard.
The Packers claim he's a tackle still.
Yeah, he's not a tackle. That's why they've only freaking played him at guard. You know, I mean, they're talking out of both sides of their mouth because he's not a tackle.
He might be.
We'll see. I mean, is he better than Rasheed Walker at left tackle?
We don't know yet.
We don't, but he's not.
Packers
I can
like
tell
to
you that.
do like musical chairs during the season, and if they do decide, like, let's say they don't draft a tackle early on.
Sorry. The pick is in, but wait, I'm not going to actually play it right now because they're introducing somebody. So go ahead.
Yeah, so like the Packers like to play musical chairs, and if they don't, they have to re-sign.
Yeah.
They have to extend Rasheed Walker this year, and then if they decide to put Jordan Morgan, let him try out in preseason or in training camp at tackle, I think you could see a lot of that. Like every other series, you got a different tackle, and they like to do that. And it seems to work for them for whatever reason. It's just
it really does. I like Rasheed Walker. When the Packers drafted him late, I thought, what a home run hit for the Packers, and it was a home run hit.
Yeah.
But he's coming up on, okay, do we pay the guy or do we draft? So would you be pissed? And I want you guys to leave your comments. Would you be pissed if the Packers go Josh Simmons out of Ohio State if he happens to fall? So for
I can see
John, I mean, you're an Ohio State fan, so
I can see the Bears taking a tight end here.
Wait, this is the Bears. This is the Bears.
From
Okay.
The NFL team sites, the club social channels.
They've been up there a long time.
I could see them going Penn State's tight end. I could see them going Tyler Warren. I could really see that happening. Oh, what is we get cookies. Look at this. Guys, we get cookies brought to us on a platter.
Thank you.
Man, we get it all here. You know, it's like we're in the press box. You know, we're getting catered to. Cookies, we get.
They're pretty happy about it. Do we miss the pick?
Oh man, we missed the freaking pick.
We find out the Bears, we were talking about, did they trade up for Jeffy?
No, they didn't. But they didn't.
Who did they take?
Did we miss it?
We took it. Did we?
No, they didn't. They didn't announce it yet. They're getting ready to announce it.
Wait, that girl was up there the whole time.
There we go.
Okay.
The Bears have not won a playoff game since 2010, and that is music to my ears.
I mean, you got to love the fact that Jordan Love's first year as a Packer put up better numbers than any quarterback in Bears history.
That's like the best stat.
The NFL family lost a true legend.
Sweet Moses.
Bears Hall of Famer Steve McMichael.
Oh, what?
He's also
My
an
heart
ex-Packer.
is with the
McMichael?
McMichael family
Come on,
during
I
this
didn't know that.
incredibly difficult time.
I love
Misty,
McMichael when he was with the
please
Packers. He had
know
that visor.
that you are in our thoughts and prayers.
No way, man.
Longo's remarkable contributions to the game and the community will never be forgotten. His legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. 50 years ago, with the 4th pick in the 1975 NFL.
Okay, so they're going to talk for a second here about McMichael, which is a loss. So I didn't know that. They still suck no matter what they do. I agree, but I do see the Chicago Bears, if we're being honest with ourselves, I see the Chicago Bears, given the moves that they made. So you get rid of a clown as a coach.
100 and
So you get rid of a clown as a coach, and you get Ben Johnson there, who I think Ben Johnson could translate into a pretty. It's going to be an upgrade from whatever they had.
performance and excellence.
Sweet Moses. Okay, I'm not going to continue listening to this. So as the Bears pick comes in, can somebody just put it in the comments? Okay, so you've got the Chicago Bears needing some offensive line help. They do that. They address that. They get better on the offensive line.
Yep.
They take a crazy good center. They take
Michigan's tight end. They just took Michigan.
Okay. Wow, really?
Colston Loveland.
Wow, that is awesome. I love that pick. I think that's good.
he's
That's
good.
fantastic. He's not the best tight end in this draft. So if I'm a Chicago Bears fan right now, it's not like you could do worse. But my gosh, like I think that was a crappy pick.
He's more of
Whatever, man.
he's not an inline tight end. So yeah.
Wow.
Not multi-dimensional. So kind of a surprising pick. He's a good tight end, there's no doubt, but only a receiving threat.
Wow. I'm surprised, and I think it's hilarious.
Yeah.
You got to love the Chicago Bears, man. They continue to disappoint their fan base, and they continue to make Packer fans happy.
Yep.
With their stupidity. What did you miss? So the Chicago Bears selected a tight end out of Michigan, Colston Loveland. He's not the best tight end in this draft. Penn State's tight end, Ty Warren, it was certainly the best tight end available in this draft. The Chicago Bears missed an opportunity to take the best tight end available. I love it. It's the Chicago Bears. You gotta be happy with that.
John was trying to warn us that they were drafting. I'll look at your TV.
Oh yeah. Dang it. All right. Sorry about that, John. Thanks for the heads up, man. So Loveland, you've got gone, and I think that's it's true to what Chicago does, which is completely.
That was a surprise pick, no doubt.
That's yeah, it's a really that's probably the biggest shocker if you're gonna go biggest surprise pick in the draft so far. That's my biggest surprise pick in the draft so far. I think it's a garbage pick. So
yeah.
All right, so
but it does bolster that offense, right? So you've got really good weapons on the outside. They need a running back. I still think Caleb Williams is very overrated, kind of. I mean, I don't think that he was hyped up, or he's as good as he was hyped up to be coming into the draft. Like a generational talent, once in a lifetime quarterback. I don't see that. Like the processing is slow. He does make some wow plays for sure, but hangs on to the ball way too long.
Yeah,
we'll see.
We'll see, man. I'm excited. That's exactly what I was hoping would happen. That the Chicago Bears were gonna. Winston is from Spring Lake. Where is Spring Lake? I have no clue. Can you educate? What state is that? And then you've got the San Francisco 49ers on the clock right now. And here's what I'm afraid that the San Francisco 49ers are going to do. I think the San Francisco 49ers are going to go Walter Nolan, and that's exactly who I want the Packers to take.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest with myself, that's my pick. That's the one that I want the Packers to go.
Yeah,
I want them to go Walter Nolan. out of Ole Miss. I think he's, unless Grant is there from Michigan, I still like Walter Nolan. I think better than slightly ahead of Grant, but yeah. Anyways,
I think if the Packers did, like I was saying before, if Walter Nolan is the pick for Green Bay, which I don't think he'll make that far, but then you're obviously like moving on from I was gonna say
Slayton.
from the two Georgia boys. Why am I drawing a blank?
Wyatt.
Devontae Wyatt. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean Devontae Wyatt, I think they go tackle because I do think that they're probably not gonna throw a bunch of money. They're certainly not gonna throw a bunch of money at all three players, Christian Watson, Wyatt, and Quay Walker. Quay Walker, I think if I had to choose between the three, because you've got Edgerrin Cooper there, I just think Quay Walker has been misplaced. I think they're playing him out of position.
Yeah.
I'd love to see him at edge, and that takes care of your edge problems there. Maybe
he's got the size to do it for sure.
He does, and he's got the speed. He's got the athleticism that would pair perfectly with what they're looking to do here in Green Bay. So, 23 Winston.
They were asking when the Packers pick.
Oh, when the Packers pick 23.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you've got the San Francisco 49ers on the clock right now. I think they're going to go defense. Now, the Chicago Bears just wowed everybody with what they did. It wouldn't shock me if we get another wow factor here and there's all of a sudden something to disrupt everything. The Chicago Bears started the snowball effect of disrupting, in my opinion. I thought that they were going to go. Winston loves Ja. Ja is ridiculous. Between those three, I would agree with that one. Yeah. My gosh. Yeah.
Watson. And as much as I like the potential of Christian Watson, he just hasn't lived up to it, and injuries have been a key factor in that, right? So,
okay, so let's talk for a second. Edge rushing. Okay, so can you enlighten everybody what you think, because we tend to disagree. I hope you're right. I hope that Lucas Van Ness pans out and he's the edge that everybody pick is in for San Francisco. I hope that Lucas Van Ness is the edge and I think that's why Gutekunst is holding out.
Yeah.
He's thinking that Lucas Van Ness, he's trying to, and I'm like, okay, is it his pride coming into play? That he wants Lucas Van Ness so badly to work out. Tell me what your thoughts are on Lucas Van Ness, why you think he's going to pan out.
Yeah. I mean, I tend to be kind of an optimist, give people a chance. He was very raw coming into the draft when the Packers picked him. He wasn't even a starter at Iowa. And then, Packers took him with was it a top 10 pick?
Yeah.
A top 10 pick. And I just think the tools are there. I just think that, the things that we've been hearing about their previous defensive line coach, where he was just more of a hype guy, a rah-rah guy, not really teaching the X's and O's and going over like the technical side of the defensive line group. So I think with this new hire, that might change a lot. So we'll see, right? So this is like a big make or break year, in my opinion, for Lucas Van Ness. It's going into his third year. Yes, he still has the 5th-year option, but with more of a
chance of USA mixed in with the requisite booze for the Niners here in Packers
Thank
country.
you to our men and women who serve in the United States military for your sacrifices to defend our country's freedom. With the 11th pick in the 2025
Walter
NFL
Nolan.
Draft, the San Francisco 49ers select Michael Williams.
Oh,
okay. Well, okay. So that's a player that was projected to go to the Packers. Potentially, edge rusher, going to be super is going to have a very good career in the NFL. Not the best edge rusher in this draft, but I think if I had him number 4 on my board, but I think that he's got so much upside.
Yeah.
I really like him. I like Mike Green a lot out of Marshall. I would love to see the Packers maybe even get Mike Green, but I think there's just too many edge rushers available in the 3rd round that the Packers don't need to get Mike Green if he is there.
Yeah, I agree.
But let me know your thoughts there.
Yeah, I think especially if you wait till like 2nd, 3rd round, there's some really good edge rushers. There's a couple of them out of Louisville that are really got like the physical traits that you're looking for, and they also have the production. Braden Swinson of LSU, I think that's how you say his name. I think that's his name. But
yeah,
like a really dynamic edge defender. Like, so I think if you wait, you've got, I think, a good group, potentially a good group, and you've got some good depth on the Packers team already. So, like, to me, to go 1st round with an edge, I think that'd be kind of a not a need at all. And then you're like, okay, who are we going to get rid of? You're going to get rid of Rashawn Gary. You're going to get rid of Lucas Van Ness already. So, like, to make that pick, I think that'd be
to make that pick. You're 100% right, because to make that pick, you are saying, okay, well, we really don't believe in Lucas Van Ness. So I see them going edge next year if Lucas Van Ness doesn't pan out.
Yeah, give him another year.
Yeah, and so Raymond says 1st round. I have a question for Jason Henry. I'm going to get to Henry's first. So I have a question for Jason and the other guy. Oh, come on, man. If the Packers didn't exist, who would be your favorite team? For me, it would be the Jets. Okay, so you're going to hate what I'm going to say. Oh, man. Okay, so if the Packers didn't exist, my favorite team, I've always had, for whatever reason. Do you have somebody?
Yeah, I don't like any other teams, but I guess if I had to pick one, it would probably be San Francisco. Like, just the tradition that's there. Packers play the very similar style football. So, yeah, my pick would be 49ers. What about you?
49ers?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
With the 12th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft.
Let's go, Cowboys.
The Dallas Cowboys select
Lions.
Tyler Booker, guard, Alabama.
What?
So it is
Wow. The Dallas Cowboys goes guard. Why didn't they go wide receiver? This is awesome for the Packers, because if you're looking for that number 1 wide receiver and the Dallas Cowboys just passed up on it. Okay, like I'm shocked. The Dallas Cowboys, I thought for sure we're going to go wide receiver. I had them going probably who did I have them taking? Give me one sec. I have it up here.
So he's strictly like a punishing type guard, and like, obviously if you're looking to establish the run, he'd be the guy that, like, probably the best guy in the draft for that. But seems like a bit of a reach, right? I don't know where he was projected on the board, but like a bit of a reach.
I honestly wouldn't have taken any guards in the 1st round.
No,
I don't think this was a guard heavy class at all. I mean, like a good guard class. So it was more of a tackle class. So for me, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I didn't have any guards going in the 1st round. I really didn't. I had them going early 2nd round, and he was
guard too.
He was the guy I had going early 2nd round. Okay, so if you're the Dallas Cowboys, you have Luther Burden on the clock. That's who I had them taking. Actually, it was Luther Burden. So you've got him.
That's good for me.
Yeah,
That's what I want.
He keeps slipping. Now, I got super excited about this last year when the Packers had Cooper DeJean at their fingertips, right?
Yeah,
so
I think if you go back and watch the video, not that you would, but if you did, I mean,
I was so
we
pissed
both
off.
were like, Cooper DeJean's the pick. Cooper DeJean's the pick.
Like, how could you not go Cooper DeJean? Tyrion Arnold, the Detroit Lions, who I hate, they get bumped. They trade up ahead of the Packers. They take Tyrion Arnold. So okay, so it's like, okay, a corner's off. That's what we need. We need secondary help. And then you've got the Packers selecting next. And I'm like, okay, how do you not take Cooper DeJean? Cooper DeJean was one of those guys that could have easily gone 15.
Absolute
he doesn't.
Game changer for Philly.
And he keeps falling. He falls into the 2nd round, like 4, 5, 6 picks into the 2nd round. I was sure. I'm like, okay, the Packers, why don't they trade up? to take that, and they don't take Cooper DeJean. So going back to Henry's question about who would be my favorite team. I like an underdog. I've always been an underdog type of person. So the Cincinnati Bengals were always one of those teams that they're not great, and then all of a sudden they got pretty good. I've always, for whatever reason, I like underdogs. So it'd be either for me, Cleveland Browns or the Cincinnati Bengals, to be honest with you, which is really stupid just because I like an underdog. He likes San Francisco 49ers.
Well, they're similar style
if they
football,
were to.
right?
Yeah, it is. West Coast style. So, and then Raymond said to go back to what he said, first round tight end, bold strategy for the Chicago Bears. I couldn't be happier. This is awesome. The draft is actually working out fantastic for what the Packers are looking to accomplish. What's that? Oh yeah. We did say this last year, and this is going to be a repeat on playback. If you say this last year, this is working out fantastic. The Packers are going to have so many people at their fingertips. If Luther Burden is there, how do you not take a talented wide receiver? Whether it's Emeka Egbuka or Burden, how do you not?
And that's the biggest need for Green Bay, in my opinion. The biggest need.
Yeah. Should they get Aaron Rodgers back? They absolutely are going to be getting Aaron Rodgers back, and that'll be probably next year when they retire his number.
I wish it didn't end that way, because I seriously, you talk about like once in a lifetime athletes. To me, Aaron Rodgers is that once in a lifetime athlete. Thankful that I got to watch him. Thankful that he was on my favorite team. Unfortunately, he's kind of a crazy guy. Likes himself a lot, but just the best quarterback I've ever watched play. But no, he will not come back. That would be awesome, though.
He is his biggest fan. There's no doubt about that. That's hey, unfortunately his demise. That's why he goes through girlfriend after girlfriend, because he is his biggest fan.
Yeah.
So, getting back to the conversation of, what were we talking about? We were on a good topic.
We were talking about a lot of stuff.
Frick.
The Bears. We're talking about favorite teams that were not.
So here's a question for everybody out there. So Henry asked, so if you weren't a Packer fan, if the Packers didn't exist, who would be your favorite team? So who's your most hated team? Okay, so who's your most hated team? Frick, we kind of already covered this, right?
Yeah,
because we talked about them. Anybody in the NFC North.
That and the Kansas City Chiefs. I hate the Kansas City Chiefs, not just because of Taylor Swift.
If you had to go outside the NFC North, who would be your most hated team? I would agree with you. The Kansas City Chiefs. And the crazy thing before they got Patrick Mahomes, I really liked the Kansas City Chiefs because their fan base is so good. So their fan base gets really loud and rowdy, which I love.
Yeah.
But then Patrick Mahomes happened, and then Taylor Swift happened, and then
does anybody like Travis Kelce?
Travis Kelce, I hate Travis Kelce. There's everything I hate a lot, other than Andy Reid.
You look at
Andy Reid. I hate the Eagles. Jay Smoot says he hates the Eagles. Eagles suck, dude. Their fan base blows. Everything about. No, I'm just saying they suck. I hate them because I hate them. I mean,
I don't like them.
That's
either.
like one of the
worst fan bases ever. Sorry.
So you talk about. So what's for you? What's a single play that stands out to you as a Packer fan that you just
don't tell me 4th and 26?
Yeah, I mean, is that it for you?
That is one of the ones that sticks in my head. The Seahawks game in the NFC Championship, the Packers losing that one in terrible fashion, and then 4th and 26. That was just that. Those are two nightmare games that I lost a lot of sleep over, and I shouldn't, but I lost a lot of sleep over those games.
What about every time the Packers play San Francisco in the playoffs? Like, I mean, that's not a particular game or a particular play, but it's just like, dude, it's like anytime. Hate the Eagles. My most hated team are the Chiefs because my mother-in-law is a huge fan. I can't say that's amazing. Wow. I mean, that's, Hey, I mean, mother-in-laws can be terrible. Thankfully,
Oh man,
I've got a good mother-in-law.
that's the best comment of the night. That was funny.
That's awesome. I love it. Kansas City Chiefs suck, and mother-in-laws sometimes can suck. There's no doubt about that. But Eagles are one of those. So best Eagles quarterback in history.
Oh, Randall Cunningham.
Okay, that's my take. That's what I would.
love
That's
that
what
guy.
I
He
have
was
said.
awesome.
I loved Randall Cunningham. I thought
And
he was
he
great.
used the punt also, right? If I remember
Dude, he
right,
did everything.
It was so cool.
Okay, so the Miami Dolphins pick is in. Okay, so where do the Miami Dolphins go?
They need defensive help bad.
They do need defensive help, and I had them going offensive line, and I had them taking Banks here, but
Kenneth Grant.
Oh no.
okay, well he's gone now. The Packers
That's who I wanted for Green Bay.
are without a tackle, a one option of a tackle. But there is a tackle that keeps slipping to them, and that's Walter Nolan. So
Right.
the Packers could have that. Keep in mind, this is Luther Burden still slips to the Packers. So you've got Luther Burden, you've got Walter Nolan, you've got some guys slipping to the Packers where it's like, okay, like, did we really think Grant was going to be there though?
I was hopeful, but there's another big body type like Kenneth Grant, Tyleik Williams out of Ohio State. If I remember right, he was one of the highest recruited defensive linemen coming out of high school when he went to Ohio State. And like, I would be 100% happy if he ended up in Green Bay. I think the Packers need to find a future Kenny Clark replacement, in my opinion. They're young across the rest of the D-line, but Kenny Clark, even though he's still young, he's like 28, 29.
You know, so
But he has been slipping the last couple of years.
I was going to say that's actually what I was about. I was going to say Kenny Clark. You look at it, was last year was probably his worst season yet, but the year before was a really good season for him under Joe Barry, ironically enough.
Yeah.
Last season, not so much. Didn't look good last season, all things considered, which sucks.
Yeah.
So I'm a Packer fan that lives in Philly. I get reminded of the 4th and 26. Yeah, seriously. I mean, if you're in Philly and you're a Packer fan, which by the way, William, love your comments. I think it's you. You make comments regularly. Love the comments that you make. So you're reminded of that 4th and 26, and that's like one of the most ugliest reminders of any Packer fan out there. Seattle would be my number 2, a really close number 2. That stupid reception that wasn't a reception; it was an interception.
Oh, the Hail Mary. But I'm thinking playoffs, like when they intercepted Russell Wilson like 4 times.
Yeah, dude.
They only scored 17 points, lost in overtime on the last second pass.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that one. I don't think I slept that first night after that game.
Dude, there's been so many games where I haven't slept. So you've got the Indianapolis Colts on the clock. I think they go tight end here. So I think they go, obviously, is Tyler Warren still available? Am I mistaken? Is he still on the?
Yeah, he's available. I can see that. They do need help there. Can
you imagine if the Packers select a tight end? I'd be pissed.
I don't know. I would. I could see them taking one later in the round.
Yeah, later rounds.
Like there's a good one from Oregon who's available.
Oh yes, but Tucker Kraft is just wow. What a special athlete that dude is.
Yeah,
I mean, then you got Luke Musgrave,
and he's got the mentality.
2025 NFL Draft. The Indianapolis Colts select Tyler Warren.
Okay, we just said it.
We called it.
It's not a surprise they go tight end there. And then you got the Atlanta Falcons. So here's my bold prediction. I think the Atlanta Falcons, I'm going to say it before it even happens. I think the Atlanta Falcons trade this pick. I really do. I think they need to load up. They've only got 5 picks in this draft.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
So I think the Atlanta Falcons bolster up some draft capital in the 2nd and 3rd, 4th, whatever rounds. And I think they do that. I could be wrong, but yeah.
No, look at the I nearly destroyed my coffee table. Yeah. I remember kicking over some stuff in past games.
Oh man,
yeah,
that 4th and 26, man. Like oh man, there's been games where I've had to take some really long walks, and like, And for me as a Packer fan, when you had Aaron Rodgers there, the Packers were so close so many times, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how many
Oh.
NFC Championship games did we go to?
Too many.
Like,
Too many.
does anybody know the right answer to
That's
that?
like 5.
I was going to
Aaron
say
Rodgers, I think, went to 5 NFC Championship games.
I was going to
maybe
say 6. Okay.
And I mean, came up short. But like, look, okay, so think of that perspective, right? So the Packers, us as fans, have been able to witness 6 during the Rodgers era, 6 NFC Championship games. Like, you think about the Detroit Lions, they were supposed to go to the NFC Championship game last year.
Dude,
They've been
the Lions
one
get
in
bounced.
my lifetime, and so you look at that.
Oh,
Like
man.
the Vikings have been to like 2 NFC Championship games in our lifetime.
Yeah.
The Bears won, and they lost to Green Bay. It was awesome. I
Dude.
take that back. They went to the Super Bowl.
No, so you've got the Lions. So you've got the Lions who are just complete big talkers. And then nobody's really talking about the fact that they completely laid the biggest egg possible.
Yeah,
they were
it was
the
awesome.
favorites to come out of the
Yes.
NFC,
Yes.
especially with San Francisco just completely nosediving this last season. So then you got the Lions as the favorite. They lose in the first round. I mean, their first round. It's a second round. They had a first round bye, but they lose in their first round.
Yep.
And nobody's talking about it.
No.
Like, and then they lose all their coordinators, and they're still expected to be on top of that division.
So I think like, and you're right. I think, but what a lot of the talk is the Lions were running on fumes. They were playing second, third, fourth string guys.
Okay.
But
Good reminder.
the year the Packers won the Super Bowl in 2010, 2011, we had 23 or 25 guys on season-ending injured reserve. And so, like, those are good. It's an excuse, and it's a valid excuse, but it can be overcome. The Lions just couldn't do it. And they were playing against a really hot Washington team. So, yeah.
So Blake is like, Henry, that's a lot of rage to destroy your coffee table. Well, yeah, that's what the Packers do sometimes, you man. I've destroyed so much. I think I've punched a hole in something one time.
In that 4th and 26 game, and we're talking about Brett Favre, and he was enough to put people in a rage anyway.
Oh my gosh, dude.
But if I remember, his last throw in that game was just, he threw it up for grabs. It was to nobody. It was intercepted. So yeah, like you could look at multiple things that game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just know Amon Green was running like a beast, and we ended up not handing him the ball off.
Yeah.
The 4th and 26 play, and then Brett Favre's multiple interceptions in that game. Like there's a lot.
There was a lot that happened in that game. So the Atlanta Falcons are on the clock, and talk about a team that completely disappointed. So if you're the Atlanta Falcons and you have Kirk Cousins, and then you go to Penix.
Yeah.
But if you watched film, and I don't know if you did, but if you watched film of Kirk Cousins and the just dismantling, the confusion that was out there, you know how many botched snaps he had? It was the same thing when Jenkins was playing center. It was a fill-in for the Packers, and you know how many botched snaps Jordan Love, and that's why I was kind of pissed off when the Packers decided they're going to put Jenkins at center. I'm like, man, I know he played that in college, all that stuff, but I really hope that pans out. And I know
when you're going to get reps, and obviously he didn't play that. Like maybe he practiced a few times in an emergency situation, like, hey, we're going to need you to be ready to go. But like, there's a difference between that and then practicing all off season, training camp, in preseason games, and getting those reps, hundreds, if not thousands of reps before the season starts. So
right.
They claim that if he plays there, like he could be an all-pro. That's what they claim.
Yeah. I'm reading through some of the comments.
right.
So William Swint says, I chose the Niners game because I knew we could do better. And I'm assuming are you talking which Niners game is he talking about? Did I miss that? So he might be talking about. So if he's talking about the Niners game, is he talking about when?
He's talking about when they the offense only scored 10 points, and then they ended up losing 13 to 10 on special teams. Punt.
Yeah, my
for
gosh,
like
yeah.
the 8th time that season. Yeah, that
Good-
one was pretty
Good
bad,
pick on
too.
that. Yeah, 13-10. Yeah, good pick on that because yeah, that was
That one was painful because that team, like, that was coming off of that NFC Championship loss to Tom Brady and the Buccaneers, and that one I thought, like, oh, for sure they're gonna go.
Yeah.
They're gonna go to the Super Bowl again. Like, there were so many close calls or should haves that it just
yeah, so many. So you've got the Atlanta Falcons. Looks like they're picking. I thought they were going to be trading it. Looks like they're picking. I thought I'm wrong on
Well, it
this.
doesn't say the pick is in yet, so
Oh, I thought it said the pick was in. There looks like he's deliberating over. He's like, hey, should we? We've only got 5 picks. Should we
Nobody's
do
calling it,
this?
there's some good
So you've
players
got,
out there.
dude, the Atlanta Falcons are loaded. You've got Drake London as a wide receiver. You had Mooney, who had a really monster year this last year. You're loaded at the running back, Bijan Robinson.
Awesome.
You've got
running
so
back.
much talent there. You've got a talent, probably the most underutilized talented wide or tight end in the league.
Yes.
And they never throw. I don't understand. He's a wide receiver as a tight end. I don't get it.
They need
They're
defense.
loaded.
Yeah, they need
defense. They do need defense.
Maybe they take Will Johnson from Michigan, the cornerback from Michigan.
Wow.
He's
Okay.
a really, to me, he's the best corner in the draft.
Or do they go edge and go James Pierce?
They could.
You know, do they go linebacker, the best linebacker in the draft
Or
out of
Shamar
Alabama, Campbell?
Stewart. Shamar Stewart is probably the best athlete outside.
Oh, yeah.
Outside of
Good
Abdul
point.
Carter, probably the best athletic edge in the draft. So I don't know. Pick is in. So they did. They did.
Oh,
They did
okay,
not
pick
trade.
is in. So they didn't trade out. I'm a little surprised on that. So
Look at
the
that
Atlanta
crowd.
Falcons really need that. Look at that crowd,
That's
man.
amazing.
It's like Lambeau Field every time.
Well, I think there's just like an aura and
Gosh,
like a
dude.
mystique
Yeah.
to being at Lambeau.
Look at that.
Yeah, it's just like a cool place.
What a place.
Try to get there every year.
As a Packer fan listening and chiming in, so there's 31 people on right now watching. So who has not been to Lambeau Field of anybody out there? Has any pick is in, man, but they're doing a lot of talking, they're hugging, all that stuff. So what's happening? The pick is in. I'm shocked. I thought they were going to trade it.
Yeah, it would have made sense. Like you said, they need more picks.
They do. And there's so much talent. So why would you not trade out of the first round if you're the Falcons and you need,
Unless you're not finding somebody that's willing to do it,
unless they're in love with it? Yeah, right.
or they really like whoever they're picking, which I think is going to be Will Johnson. That's just me.
Okay, so he says Will Johnson. I'm actually going to go Campbell, Alabama linebacker. I think that's the route they go. They do go defense. There's no doubt about that because
Much will be
offensively,
wrong.
either no, man, they're going defense. It's just a matter of who do they go. Well, let's wait and see. Here we go. Here's Roger Goodell.
Here's the latest.
Oh, Williams never been to Green Bay.
No, you've never been to Green Bay. Oh man, you got to get
In
there.
the 2025 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select Jalen Walker, defensive end, Georgia.
Called it linebacker. Is that
Hey.
what you said?
Jalen Walker, defensive end, out of Georgia. He was supposed to go a handful of picks ago. That's where I actually picked him to go. So then you've got Henry saying that he's only gone one time with his dad. He was young. I remember the first quarter, Brett Favre threw an interception and I choked on a hot dog weenie. Yeah, I mean that's one of those. So Brett Favre. Okay, so how old are you, Henry?
So Lambeau's
Curious.
just like Lambeau's just it's more than just going to the stadium. They've made it an experience. It's like not just a game day thing. It's you can go there on a Monday,
Yeah.
hang out, and have a lot of fun because there's stuff to do
Oh,
all the
there's so
time.
much.
So it's not just like, oh, we go there on game day and you hang out, you do the tailgate or you walk around and then people watch. But there's stuff to do every day of the week there. And there's just they've made it an experience. So going to Green Bay is then like when you're talking about when you went to see Brett Favre.
Yeah,
it's so much different now.
It really is. And so, yeah, I mean, you got to get back to Lambeau. There is so much to do. They've made it so entertaining for everybody. Okay, so Henry's 55 years old. Brett Favre, watched him. Brett Favre, one of my favorite players of all time. So the Lambeau Field, I went this last year, watched the Houston Texans, and that was when we got McManus, and we had nothing for kickers. In fact, kickers were just killing us. Just time after time, we've had just garbage kickers, and then we had Narvison, we had
that was a nightmare.
geez, just so much garbage, and then we get McManus. McManus comes in, kicks a game-winning field goal. I'm losing it. It was such a great game to go to, but I say that to say the Houston Texan fans that were there, the Packer fans were so hospitable to them, went through the whole Hall of Fame. Houston Texan fans are going through the Hall of Fame. They're like, Jerry's World means absolutely nothing. Like this pales. I mean, Jerry's World pales in comparison to Lambeau Field.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
football mecca. It's a cool
yeah,
place.
it really is, man. Okay, so Henry's 45 typo. Okay, I wondered when you said 55 as a young kid watching Brett Favre. Okay, so, yep. Okay, so on our way to Door County, we stopped to meet Bryce Pop. Wow, there's a name.
Yeah, I forgot
Reggie
about
White.
him.
Reggie White, Lambeau. Oh
He was
man,
good linebacker.
yeah, geez. Chico, Channel 7, Go Pack Go.
Welcome.
Welcome. Great to have you. Unless you've already been on here and you've already said it, so I apologize if I overlooked you. Okay, so did I just miss something again?
No, I don't think so.
I think we just missed a pick.
Did we?
Yeah, it was
Did we miss a pick?
the Atlanta Falcons. Who did the Falcons take? Did I
Took
miss
the
that?
linebacker.
No, oh, that's right. They took. Yeah, never mind. I'm
Defensive end,
way
yeah.
off. So the Arizona Cardinals are on the. Do they take Campbell? Do they take a linebacker out of Alabama? Do they go edge rusher? What does Arizona do? I think they need to go defense. What are your
I would agree.
takes?
Defense is another weak spot for Arizona.
Yeah.
They got their quarterback settled. They got one of the best young wide receivers in football. I think they're pretty well set. They got good running backs. Offensive line wouldn't surprise me either.
So when you say, you got Marvin Harrison Jr. there, is that who you're referring to?
Yep.
So Marvin Harrison Jr., you have Malik Neighbors also taken in last year's draft. You talk about two crazy talented wide receivers.
Yeah.
I love Malik Neighbors. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He's got an edge. He's got an attitude.
Yep.
But I love him. I think he's super good.
What did I do? Sorry.
Man.
I dropped my phone.
Hey, that's okay because we're gonna get some comments on the board here. Shoot.
I think if you just click on that. Yeah. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry about
I'm gonna highlight. Okay. It sucks because I watched every Eagles fan go crazy downtown. Oh yeah, I bet you did, man. I mean, that would have sucked. The Philadelphia Eagles, but you knew it was their year, how talented. If it wasn't going to be the Lions that everybody thought, I didn't think so. I didn't think it was going to be the Lions.
No.
Yeah, it was going to be Philadelphia. Philadelphia was just playing out of their minds. Saquon Barkley. You look at three running backs, just a couple of years ago, you have running backs that are it seemed obsolete. It was the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they had zero value. And I'm like, what is going on with the NFL? The Cardinals pick is in. We're going to get back to that topic here in a second.
Receiver.
With the 16th pick in
They
the
go wide receiver.
2025 NFL Draft,
I would
They
be
go
shocked.
back to
the
back
Arizona
years.
Cardinals select Walter Nolan.
Oh,
That sucks. Okay, I'm
Nolan.
pissed about that one. Walter Nolan is now off the board. I didn't see that coming. Frick, I did see them going defense, but I'm pissed. Okay, Walter Nolan's gone. I was hoping he was going to be a Packer. Frick.
He would have been nice in Green Bay, no doubt.
Yeah, he would have been.
But
great
like I
there.
said, he would have been a replacement for. Gosh, why am I drawing a blank on the names? I'm not
So anyways,
I'm not even old.
What were we talking about when I was like, oh, we got to get
Running
back to
backs.
that. Okay, so running backs. So you've got running backs that are obsolete, seemingly obsolete as far as contracts, giving them contracts that they're worth in the NFL.
Yep.
But they set the tone. You look at,
Oh yeah.
you've got Derrick Henry going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
Derrick Henry. I mean, Baltimore just went away from him in the playoffs. Otherwise, Baltimore should have made it the Super Bowl. But literally, the game that they lost, they stopped feeding the ball to
Yep.
Derrick Henry, which was, I didn't understand that. And then you've got Saquon Barkley just working magic out there. The dude's doing
amazing.
360s. He's hopping over people.
Yeah.
Then you've got in Green Bay, Josh Jacobs, the
Yeah,
Packers.
He had an amazing season, and
Yeah, he
it was underrated because of Saquon and Derrick Henry just had that amazing of a season. Anyway, sorry.
No, dude. I mean, you're right. I mean, so if you're talking about now, okay, so favorite running back of all time in Green Bay. Now, when I'm talking in your lifetime. Favorite running back of all time in Green Bay in your lifetime. It's probably a little bit too premature to say Derrick Henry. I'm sorry, Josh Jacobs. But man, I really love Aaron Jones. Did so much good there. Amon Green, Dorsey Levens. Like, what are your thoughts?
For me, Amon Green, the ones that I watched play.
Yep.
Right, Amon Green. I did like Edgar Bennett, even though he was more of like
it was a
like
wide out.
That, and yeah, he was a receiving running back, and he was a really good blocking running back. But yeah, Amon Green was just a workhorse and just would run through guys. A lot of fun. He just couldn't hang onto the ball sometimes, but yeah, I loved Amon Green.
Yeah, so Henry's like Henry says,
Lacy.
Walter Nolan, no, yeah, I'm pissed that he's gone. But yes, Amon Green, love that.
They had 2 really good years of Eddie Lacy were a lot of fun too. I think Henry.
Who said Eddie Lacy?
Eddie
Eddie Lacy.
Prime. Yeah.
His prime for 2 years.
Yeah.
Then Fu got the better.
Yeah.
Dude, Eddie Lacy could have been so good. Like,
Paul
what was
Hornung,
with
Jim
that?
Taylor? Yeah, that's the stuff that I never
Okay.
got to experience, right? So you see all
Yeah.
the Packers highlights, you go to the Packers Hall of Fame, you see that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, Paul Hornung, Jim Taylor, what a combo. That's kind of what I was hoping would have been with if they would have kept Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
That would have been a really amazing combo between those two.
Oh, no joke, dude. Yeah, seriously. By the way, Cincinnati's pick is in. We haven't talked about Cincinnati. I think this is when you see Will Johnson go off the board.
Yeah, I mean they need defensive help too. They couldn't stop anybody last year.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just T. Higgins. You're giving 2 guys like max contracts. Like,
Tons of
what are
money
they
for
like?
for their starting wide receivers.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure Cincinnati out. I don't. Yeah.
Yeah, and they who's their defensive tackle that wants to be traded? They want a 1st-round pick for him. Obviously,
Oh,
I don't know, it's going to drive me nuts because he would be a good fit in Green Bay too.
yeah, he would. He's not going. I mean, let's be honest. Green Bay's not. Aaron Jones. Iggy B said Aaron Jones. We've got Eddie Lacy in here. We got Aaron Jones. We got Howard says the best one because honestly, Paul Hornung, Jim Taylor.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what you.
Except for Amon Green, I think. Topped him, but
Yeah, Amon
Either
Green.
way.
I think you're right. I think Amon Green did. Amon Green had some crazy stats in Green Bay. Aaron Jones is just one of those running backs that you love to watch. He's flashy. He's
likable.
He's likable. He's full of energy.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Minnesota. Then you hate him.
I still liked him. He was like the only Packer that went to Minnesota that I still liked, and I was kind of rooting for him just because he's a nice guy.
But the Minnesota Vikings, they signed him 2 years for how much?
I can't remember. It was like $10 million.
No, it was more than that.
Was it?
I think they paid him $20 million.
I don't
10
know.
million a year, I believe. 2 years, which I was shocked at that contract. Dorsey Levens, can't forget Dorsey Levens. No,
Yeah,
you
Dorsey
can't.
Levens was fun.
Yeah. We've got a pick coming in here in a second. A couple of minutes.
I guess I'm taking over for now. That's probably not good.
All right.
He's
So
back.
Dorsey Levens is an absolute workhorse. Eddie Lacy, I wanted Eddie Lacy to pan out. Hey Dan, got a shout out to you, man.
What's up, Peyton?
Got a fan of
My
Dan
only
here.
fan.
Josh Jacobs is one of those guys that's gonna, if he were in Green Bay for the longevity of it, he would have been one of those guys setting records for the
Yes.
Packers.
Oh yeah.
Because he's just that talented. I mean, you see what he did in just a couple of years that he was with the Raiders. The Raiders are just a hot mess of a team.
Yes.
And, you know, a lot of people like to put the blame on looking at Josh Jacobs last season in Green Bay, but I mean, with the Raiders, but
That's why I was kind of hoping Max Crosby could have got Pride away from.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Max Crosby, money talks. He
Mhm.
takes it. He gets the money. He's pumped. I mean, at the end of the day, money talks for a lot of these athletes, unfortunately.
I got you.
If I were an athlete, I'd probably be pretty interested in the money as well. But there comes a point in time, especially with Aaron Rodgers, where it's just like, I just want to win a championship. So that's why he's like, okay, I'll play for 10 M's, but it's like 10 M's, man. I want 10 M's.
John Brockington. John Johnson says John Brockington, early 70s.
Oh yeah, John. Okay, yep. Brockington. There you go. Bengals.
In the 2025
Will
NFL
Johnson.
Draft, the Cincinnati Bengals select Shamar Stewart, defensive end.
Okay.
That was a Packer pick for me. That was one of the ones I was kind of hoping would fall.
But
Not
how you-
surprising. He's a lot like a Lucas Van Ness, right? Same type of build. If you're talking about relative athletic score, he was in the high 9s, just like Lucas Van Ness was. Freak athlete. Production wasn't there when he played. That's kind of his big knock coming out of college. He had the insane like pressure rates, insane athletic testing, but just no college production. I think he had 2 sacks last year.
Yeah, and if you're the Packers, though, and that's more like that's a Packer pick right there, because they're looking 5 years down the road or 3-5 years down the road, and they're like, man, do we take a guy that's got a really tall ceiling? Do we do that? I'm kind of surprised that Stewart went this early, though, aren't you? I mean,
Yeah. No, not really. Like
really? Yeah.
I know some of the mocks had him going potentially in the top 10. He's just like an athletic like freak. So you're betting like Gutekunst does. You're betting on upside. So
Yeah.
yeah.
No, you are.
You're
You're betting on
upside.
upside.
That's what Gutekunst does a lot with his first round picks. And it doesn't always pan out. So I think that's why a lot of people will say he's not a good GM. To your very beginning of the night talking point, like
But you
those
look
are
at
risks that you have to take as a GM.
you really do,
'Cause if
and
you hit on that athletic
Yeah.
upside, you got a home run.
well, look at, and I hate to keep going back to the Milwaukee Bucks, but you look at the Milwaukee Bucks who are in the playoffs and sucking. They take a gamble on Giannis Antetokounmpo,
Mhm.
a guy with really big ceiling, looks like a beanpole coming into the NBA, and then you see what he's done to that franchise. He gets them a championship, which I never thought I would see in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And then so you do have to take some risk with some talent, and that's somebody that, you know, Stewart is somebody, one
Yeah.
of those guys that you might have to take a little bit of a risk to get the return on investment.
Yeah.
I'm smoking Gorilla Glue for Adrian Peterson and Barry are the best Packers running
They had
backs.
a lot of like their best games against the Packers, if that's what you're saying, for sure.
That's what he's saying.
Adrian Peterson was a Packers
Yeah, no
killer.
joke. Yeah,
It was
my
like an
gosh.
automatic 200 yards every time they played.
You know, there's a game that stands out to me where the Packers actually held Barry Sanders to -1 yards.
Yeah, that was an
That
amazing
was
game.
one of my favorite games of all time. I was super pumped. I hated Barry Sanders with a passion.
Yeah.
Probably because the Packers, you know, could have had him. They didn't have him. They go to my least favorite team, and he was a Packer killer. And unless, you know, unless we're talking about that game where he had -1 yards against the
Yeah,
Packers defense.
That was a highlight game for me as a kid,
Yeah.
for sure.
So here's the thing. The
Seattle's
Packers
on the
are Seattle's pick is on the clock, and the Packers pick is creeping up.
This is where I could see a receiver go.
Okay, so that's what I was just
You
about to
trade
say.
DK
John's got to
Metcalf.
be super pumped right now.
You trade DK Metcalf, I 100% see them taking a receiver. I'll be shocked if they don't.
You got Luther Burden there. So you've got guys that are completely available at the wide receiver position. You've got Matthew Golden, you got Luther Burden, you've got Emeka Ibuka, you've
if
got
they-
what?
What if they take a Emeka Ibuka and they pair up the old Ohio State duo there
Yeah, I mean,
in Seattle?
yeah, that could happen. It could certainly happen. I hope it doesn't happen because I really hope we keep seeing wide receivers fall and fall. I think this could be a spot where you see the Seattle Seahawks maybe go defense, but I think there's some defensive guys, and here's where you might start to see some trigger happy teams. It's almost like the quarterback frenzy right now,
Yeah.
where keep in mind Sanders is still out there. You've got
Yeah,
Dart still available.
Yeah. That's a good point.
You've got some quarterbacks out there right now.
Really, the only quarterback needy team though, picking before Green Bay, is Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So
which
who knows what Aaron Rodgers is going to do?
dude, we've talked about that. So I'm going to talk about that after, because the pick is in, and I'm gonna go off for a hot sec on the whole Aaron Rodgers situation with putting Pittsburgh Steelers in a prison. He says he's not. I think he is, without a doubt.
Yeah.
With the 18th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft,
Good.
the Seattle Seahawks
so
select Gray Zabel, guard, North
No
Dakota
kidding.
State.
What? A guard?
Receivers. Player in the draft.
You've got a guard going off the board, man. This is only benefiting the Packers. I didn't think there was going to be a guard taken in the first round. If so, it was going to be a guard late first round, maybe to like Philadelphia or somebody like that.
And the Packers still won't take a receiver.
Who's saying that? Are you
I'm
saying that?
that.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, how many times have we said, "Oh, they need a first round pick. We need a receiver. We need a receiver."
There's no doubt the Packers need a number one wide receiver, and it's looking more and more like it's like the players are there. Luther Burden is available. You got it. I mean, John, let me know. Do you want Emeka Ibuka or Luther Burden? I mean, all biasness aside, if you're an Ohio State fan, I get you like Emeka Ibuka. I love Emeka Ibuka. I really think he's something special. Marvin Harrison Jr., Emeka Ibuka, back-to-back years. I think those two guys are going to be completely.
And this is where I would like to know from John too, really, because like in my opinion, Emeka is a possession receiver, which is you need that. But like, if you're going to go first round pick, wouldn't you want like that game changing receiver? Because to me, Emeka is like a number two, like a all day one of the best number twos in football. But the Packers team is loaded with number twos.
Packers got that, and Jaden Reed is one of the best number twos out there. Now he did have some, there's some excuses out there, but man, yeah, I mean, seriously. Geez, I'm starting to get super pumped, which is not a good thing because last year I got super excited. Cooper DeJean, he's falling to the Packers. I'm getting super pumped up. I'm like, yes, this is going to happen. And then it's like Jordan Morgan, tackle out of Arizona.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Oh, man. I was so pissed off.
I knew. Yeah. So, yeah, even like going back to that pick last year, Jordan Morgan, like that was one of the players that I had kind of thought, the Packers, if they trade down, I could see them taking him or what in the second round, but they took him in the first. So yeah, Iggy says knowing Goody, he won't pick a wide receiver. I agree.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, he's probably not going to go wide receiver. So then you've got the Packers left with the dilemma. Do you take a wide receiver or do you have your heart set on a certain position that you can get later on? Then you trade back in the draft, which I actually thought the Packers were going to do. Peyton says, I feel a wide receiver pick. Yeah, how can you not feel that? And that's the thing that pisses me off is that yes, it seems like the most obvious thing possible right now because you've got Luther Burden, you've got Emeka Ibuka, you've got
Jaden Higgins.
I mean, that's
another one.
Jaden Higgins, and then that's not who I'm thinking of though. Matthew Golden.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Yeah, Matthew Golden. Yep.
So you've got so many wide receivers at your arsenal that could all be number one wide receivers. But I agree with what you're saying. the Packers, that
So-
number one type guy.
Like if they go like a Matthew Golden, I'd be shocked because he's built like Jaden Reed, and they typically don't go for guys that small. That's why I like a Luther Burden. He's on the smaller side, 6 foot, like 200 pounds, 210, something like that. But he flies, and so that's the element that we don't have right now with Christian Watson out till like Thanksgiving. So, I mean, if they did go receiver, I would either take Luther Burden or Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins is a possession receiver, but he can go up and get you that jump ball that we thought Christian Watson would be that guy, where he can go up and get that jump ball because he can jump. He's got like a 48-inch vertical, but he would never time his jumps right. He just didn't know how to do it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Wasn't
Is
good at it.
you're completely right, because there's so many times where you're seeing Christian Watson not jumping correctly. Romeo Dobbs is that guy that really times his balls fantastic, but he's not a number one wide receiver. I
Yeah.
think that's a guy that the Packers should trade. I really do think the Packers need to part ways with Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah, I
I think
agree.
he's going to have concussion issues. He's had 2 in the last 6 months.
Yeah, and
I
I
mean-
missed extended time on that last one.
Yeah.
And it just like the weirdness, which never really came out of like his being disgruntled about his role in the offense. That is not what the Packers need. There's no doubt. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, not a doubt. So here's the thing. Wait, did I just miss another pick, or are we still okay? So we're still
Tampa Bay's on
on
the clock.
Tampa Bay's on the clock.
the pick is in, so we'll see. But Tampa Bay, I know they were looking offensive line from what I heard. There's still the Texas tackle
Yep.
on the board, and that would be a fantastic pick for them as far as you're going like value.
Yep.
Getting him this late in the draft, he was projected as like a top 10 type player. Calvin Banks, right?
Yep.
Pretty sure. So that would be that. I could see that happening. Maybe they take receiver.
So Getchy
Their receivers are getting older.
Getchy says first live Packer game witnessed Walter Payton run 205 yards against the Packers. Wow. I mean, you got Bart Starr as the head coach, Lynn Dickey, 26-0. I
Not a fun
mean,
game to
you've
go
got 205 yards being put up by, in my opinion, the greatest running back of all time. When we start talking about running backs,
I'd
it
take
goes
Barry
Walter
Sanders.
Payton. Then for me, number 2 is Barry Sanders. You
I'd-
say Barry
Barry
Sanders?
Sanders number 1.
You say Barry Sanders number 1. I mean, and you can
Yeah.
make that argument there. I think Walter Payton is the greatest running back of all time. With what he was able to do, just running over people, where Barry Sanders just dodged everybody. He's the best flag football guy probably ever.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you couldn't touch him. Iggy B says Packers should trade Musgrave. Can't stand his feet, which is true. It can't stay on the field either.
Man,
And I think the talent, and we were talking about that before we started tonight.
geez, yeah, we were.
Like Musgrave has so much potential. He's fast. If he can get him to stay on the field, work on his inline
Yeah.
blocking a little bit more. I think him running right up the seam would be exactly what this offense needs, but he's never available.
With the 19th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Emeka Egbuka.
There we go. They did take a
Son of a. Okay, so John Emeka Egbuka is gone. He goes to Tampa Bay, which I'm completely shocked. I really am.
The
You've got
receiving core is getting older, Mike.
they are
Evans
getting
is-
older. Yeah, I mean, but that means you're putting all your eggs in the basket of
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, and
I mean, he's been playing really good.
he's
the
been
last 2
playing
years.
really good. And Emeka Egbuka goes to Tampa Bay.
That's a great pick for them, actually.
It is a really good pick for
You
them.
got your 2 outsides. He's going to be playing in the slot then for sure, which is probably where he needed to play anyway.
Man, okay, so Walter Nolan's gone, Emeka Egbuka gone, but that means you've got some Luther Burden, you've got Matthew Golden. I know we've talked about Matthew Golden with his size, and you make a really good point when you say that.
Yeah, I don't see Emeka being an outside like a X or a Z type receiver. He's a slot guy, and we have a slot guy, so that's why I never thought he was like the fit for Green Bay, because we got Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
Jaden Reed needs to be on the field more than he was last year. So, While I do like Emeka, I think he's a good receiver. Like I think John said it earlier, he's always open. I think
Great route runner.
yeah,
Runner.
I just think that's not like what Green Bay needed. If
No.
you want to pick a receiver.
Okay, so Emeka Egbuka is off the clock or off the board, and that's one of those. That's one of those guys where it was like, yeah, could it have been great to see him in Green Bay? I see Dan's point here. I think it's a good point. And for John, he's this Ohio State fan, and being a Wisconsin fan for me, and you see like guys like T.J. Watt that are in your grasp, that are in your hands, and you pass up on them. I think not just once, but twice. I think the Packers passed up on them twice, didn't they?
Yeah, they could have. When they trade, they could have taken him initially, and then they traded back.
Yeah. Super frustrating. So to see a homer type player like Emeka Egbuka for John, you got Ohio State fan there. That's like, man, it would be great to see him in Green Bay. Unfortunately, he's not a Packer, which means Luther Burden's available. And so if you're looking at the teams ahead of the Packers, you've got the Broncos selecting next. I saw the Broncos taking Emeka Egbuka. That was actually where I thought Emeka Egbuka was going to go ahead of the Packers. I thought he was going to go too. So if you're the Denver Broncos right now and you've got talent galore, you got Bo Nix as your quarterback, which you got to love what Denver's doing there. Good coach, great defense. You got and then you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers and San Diego Chargers. So, real quick, I'm gonna talk about Pittsburgh Steelers are coming up in 2 picks. You've got Tampa Bay you got Denver on the clock right now. Then you got Pittsburgh next. So when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you've got Aaron Rodgers, who he says, "Hey, listen, I'm not trying to hold anybody hostage here. I'm not looking to screw anybody over. I've been very transparent, very clear from the beginning that, do what you got to do. If you're going to go sign a quarterback, go do that." But they let Justin Fields walk. They let Russell Wilson walk, making it evidently clear that, hey, we want you, Aaron Rodgers. They've made it clear. Aaron Rodgers flies there. He's throwing balls around with DK Metcalf, doing the Aaron Rodgers thing. What is he waiting for? He just came out yesterday or today or something like that and said, listen, retirement's not a thing for me. I'm not going to retire. I'm going to play some football. So it's like, okay, well, your window to play football is closing incredibly fast. And the Pittsburgh Steelers are wanting you. Why are you not doing that? So if you are the Pittsburgh Steelers and you've got a guy like Pickens who is on the trade block, right? You're either going to keep him for you're either going to keep him for one more year because you're not going to be able to afford DK Metcalf and Pickens. So I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers would love to go wide receiver here. They would love to go Luther Burden. But because Aaron Rodgers is doing Aaron Rodgers things, they may have to go quarterback. So you may see Sanders go to Pittsburgh. But if you gave up Justin Fields and you get Sanders, I really don't see
that's where I think you'd get maybe a Jackson Dart or something like that.
Great. Pittsburgh. Yeah, I mean, that's where I see Pittsburgh thriving the most.
Ideally, if they can get Rodgers to commit and he goes there, what better person to learn from? Obviously, Jordan Love spent 3 years under Rodgers, learned a lot, and Rodgers has that perspective. I know I'm being a Rodgers lover right now, but yeah, he has that perspective where he wants to pass along his knowledge and his expertise to guys underneath him. So.
Yeah, great point. And here's the thing. How can you not be an Aaron Rodgers lover? He brought the Packers years upon years of great football. Same thing with Brett Favre. So how can you not love those quarterbacks when they brought your franchise so many great years of great football? Then you got Jordan Love right now, and I'm really hoping this year is one of those. So Jordan Love came onto the scene the last 8 games of the season. He was by far the greatest quarterback in the NFL at that point in time. There was no better quarterback.
Yep, stats prove that.
And then he gets hurt last year, and I think injuries were his problem last season.
Yeah, that
hampered him from being the quarterback that we really were hoping to see the last 8 games of his quote unquote rookie year.
Yeah.
So, is Jordan Love going to come out? He needs a number 1 wide receiver, dude. You take a look at some of these teams that we've talked about. you've got Joe Burrow, has Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. You've got JJ McCarthy, who's a quote unquote all intents and purposes a rookie. So he's got Justin Jefferson, he's got Jordan Addison, you've got Jared Goff with Amon-Ra St. Brown, you've got Jameson Williams, who they're probably going to trade. Wouldn't it be like the Lions to trade in front of the Packers to take a wide receiver?
Oh, man,
because they're looking to the Detroit Lions are looking to replace Jameson Williams. Then you've got Caleb Williams has Roma Dunze and DJ Moore. You've got Dak with CeeDee Lamb, and I actually thought they were going to draft a wide receiver in the first round.
Yeah,
they don't. And then you've got CJ Stroud with Nico Collins. You got Baker Mayfield with Evans, Godwin, and now Emeka Abuka.
Yeah,
that's
a good offense.
Dude, yeah. And then you've got Trevor Lawrence with Brian Thomas Jr. You've got Michael Penix with Drake London. You've got the Giants with Malik Neighbors. You got the Steelers with Pickens and DK Metcalf. Oh, we got to pick in.
Well,
Okay, so we've got an introduction here. So I'm going off on a soapbox, but I want to get back to Jay Smooth's reminded us, hey, listen, the Packers desperately need a cornerback if they're going to be moving on from Jair Alexander. So you're completely right. There are so many good cornerbacks available. You've got Barron's still available. Is that correct?
Yes.
Is Barron still available?
Jahdae Barron, yep. There's some really good cornerbacks.
Will Johnson,
Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron.
Trey Amos. Dude, you've got so many good corner.
Awesome.
Wow.
With the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Jahdae Barron.
There you go.
Okay, well,
we were just talking really good cornerbacks.
So Barron is off the clock. So, Jay Smooth was just like, listen, let's not forget that the Packers desperately need a cornerback. And it's like, okay, you've got Barron still available. You got Will Johnson still available. By the way, Will Johnson is one of those corners that is a completely lockdown man-to-man type cornerback.
Yeah.
I would love to see him in Green Bay. Sure, he doesn't fit the bill for size-wise what the Packers are typically used to drafting, but you look at if Will Johnson's there. Oh man, I mean, what do the Packers do? So the Packers pick in 2. Is that correct?
So yes, they do. And Gooseby says Packers are going Josh Simmons, which is what you kind of asked earlier. And I would be so upset. Yes, they do need some depth, I think, on the offensive line, but man, if they go offensive line again, first round, oh my gosh.
Gooseby, thanks for joining. And if you've has he been here? If you just joined, great to have you. If not, you're right. So Josh Simmons, I would be really pissed off right now if the Packers did go Josh Simmons. Now, if there's any left tackle that you want, it's him in the draft, in my opinion. So the fact that he's slipping to the Packers is phenomenal, but in the same sense, it's like, okay, now I'm pissed off because it reminds me of Cooper DeJean last year, where it's like you've got great corners and wide receivers at your arsenal at the moment, assuming Pittsburgh goes quarterback, which they would be stupid not to go quarterback. There's only been one quarterback off the board. Jackson Dart needs to be that guy. Sanders, if he goes, I'm completely floored and shocked. So you've got the Pittsburgh Steelers are on the board right now, and we've talked about just the prison that Aaron Rodgers has put them in. I don't see a world where they now have to not draft a quarterback, because now they're left with, we've got Kyle Rudolph. Are you kidding me? Rudolph is our guy right now.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done.
I really think I think Rodgers will end up in Green Bay. I really do.
In Pittsburgh, Green Bay, baby. Come on.
In Pittsburgh. I really do. But we'll see. I think they need to pick. The fact that you got even Jalen Milroe from Alabama. There's some good athletic quarterbacks. If you want really is to sit for a year or two behind somebody, maybe you wait. So I don't know. Maybe Pittsburgh goes.
They could trade up and get somebody.
Maybe they go cornerback.
So if you're the Pittsburgh Steelers, the best available player on the board is not going to be a quarterback. Sanders is that guy that's going to be that wow factor, but he's not the answer for Pittsburgh. You're just getting back into the same mix that you had. So you're going to be getting a Justin Fields type quarterback there, and you clearly let him go because you knew that he's not your long-term solution. Sanders is that next Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think so.
Not going to happen.
Well, I don't know. He doesn't have like the same long throwing motion that Justin Fields does. So maybe, I don't know.
Cooper Flag. Cooper Flag. Let's get a Duke. Dare to, you've got Cooper Flag. I'm high right now. Yeah, let's really hope they don't. Okay, so here we got the Pittsburgh Steelers in with their pick. I think the pick came in early, so I think they already knew what they wanted.
With the 21st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Derek Harmon.
What?
That was a Packer. That was a Packer option.
That was another Packer option.
That was one of my hopeful picks.
Okay, so when you start looking at the interior defensive linemen that are available right now, you've got Mason Graham off the board, you've got Walter Nolan off the board, you've got Kenneth Grant off the board. You've got
Omar Norman Lott. Yeah, I still think Tyleik Williams is a potential Packers pick, but not this early.
Not this early.
Maybe. I mean, if they're falling this quick, maybe it will be.
So you got Harmon off the board. I don't think, if I'm the Packers, so I said I thought the Packers should draft a defensive tackle. Now at this point in time, if the Packers draft a defensive tackle, I'm super pissed. And I don't think it's Brian Gutekunst's way, because that'd be a stretch, because you're taking a guy that's not worth a 23 pick right now.
Yeah, I just don't see it.
It's not.
I could see them
there.
trading up in the second to get Tyleik Williams. Maybe they trade Jair in a pick to move up back into the second. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, honestly, maybe they do that. So you've got the Chargers on the clock right now. The Packers are just around the corner. It's getting to that time right now where I'm like, okay, I thought the Packers were going defensive tackle. They're not. Keep in mind, we've talked about the Packers not going edge right here, but yeah, Mike Green is available, and this is a stud. This is a Rashawn Gary type edge rusher. So you've got,
I could see it happening, but isn't there like some legal stuff in his background that the Packers are really picky about the people that they bring in, which
that is true.
I like, but they're very hesitant to pick people with like a checkered past, especially with their first round picks. So
yes, they usually wait till, like a Brenton Cox Jr. was an undrafted free agent, where you get a guy like that. Brenton Cox Jr. is, to me, he's that guy that it's like, man, if Lucas Van Ness isn't the answer this year, you're putting Brenton Cox in there. I think he's gonna step up to the plate, and then you've got guys like Aaron Mosby, people like that can get it done. But man, I
agree with Henry, Red Fox, Tyleik Williams. If they're going to take a defensive tackle, Tyleik Williams is another freak athlete, but I think he's like 6'3", 6'4", 330 pounds. He's a beast.
He absolutely.
But that would be your Kenny Clark replacement. Or your TJ Slayton replacement. But
yeah, he is, dude. But yeah, so Red Fox, you're right, dude. I think it would be a stretch to go and get that right here. Would I be upset about the pick? I wouldn't be, but he's not the best guy available right now. And if I'm the Green Bay Packers, you've got a gifted in your lap. Is Luther Burden still available?
He's still available.
You've got Luther Burden still available, which is that perfect frame that I think the Packers could absolutely capitalize.
Yep.
Man, if Burden's there, you've got Matthew Golden. That's for sure going to be there. Now, we've already made it clear Matthew Golden's really not the answer, but then you've got corners galore. You've got Will Johnson. Now, so you've got the San Diego Chargers on the clock right now, and where did their head coach come from? Michigan. Will Johnson.
Yeah, they
familiar face.
Could see that pick. I think that's a great point. I didn't consider that. I know there's rumors about them going after a wide receiver. Oops, sorry.
Yeah.
There's rumors about them going after a wide receiver. But I think, yeah, you bring up a good point. Will Johnson would be a fantastic pick. The familiarity that's there. They won a championship together at Michigan, so why not take that to the Chargers?
Yeah,
That's a good
seriously. I mean, so you've got Will Johnson, you've got Matthew Golden, you've got Josh Simmons. So to say, I forgot who it was that said the Packers might be going offensive line, offensive tackle here. You might be going Josh Simmons. Now, if that's the case, I'm going to get equally as pissed off because last year, at this point in time, I said, hey, listen, if the Packers, I said a few videos ago, if the Packers get Josh Simmons with the first pick, I'm going to be okay with it. But that was assuming they trade back to get him.
Yeah, right.
Because their guy isn't available right now. There's guys available that they need to take. San Diego Chargers got 3 minutes, 30 seconds left on the clock. And I think they're right now wrestling with a dilemma of like, okay, there's some guys in our lap right now that we didn't think were going to be available. Maybe they go offensive tackle and go Josh Simmons.
Yeah, they could, right? They
Yeah.
definitely could. I can see that too. I think it's going to be, Will Johnson, or I think I really do think that's the pick. I thought your point that you brought up was perfect. I could see that reunion happening right away.
Gosh dang it, dude. So you know what's crazy is that we haven't seen any safeties off the board yet.
Nope.
Now I know this really isn't the
Malachi
year for
Starks
safeties.
is a really good safety though.
Yeah, right. Yes, Malachi Starks is a great safety. He's one of those guys that I thought would have been gone by now.
Yeah, I did too.
He was the only guy that was supposed to be gone in the first round, and now you've got Malachi Starks available. So that's a guy that's been overlooked. So maybe the Chargers take Malachi Starks.
Yep.
So certainly the Packers don't need a safety.
No, they're set. They got three.
Evan
they got
Williams.
3 really good safeties on
Yeah.
this roster. They really do.
Javon Bullard, Evan Williams, and Xavier McKinney.
yeah.
Dude, Xavier McKinney, the X Factor, is just one of those dudes that
Yeah.
it's like,
That was a huge pickup
Wow.
for them last year.
what
Huge
Brian
signing.
Yeah. So, Brian Gutekunst gets a big knock on what he does or does not do in free agency. Now, maybe this year wasn't the year. I was a little upset about the fact that the Packers really didn't make a big splash in free agency. But
Yeah.
when I'm taking a step back now, I'm like, you know what? The Packers still have the 11th most cap space available out there.
Yeah.
As it stands right now.
Right.
Now, if they cut Jair Alexander June 1st,
They only get like another 6 or 10 million. I can't remember. It's something like that.
post June 1st, it's $17 million that they get in additional cap space.
Maybe they're waiting for that. So somebody up there in the chat, I don't remember who it was, but brought up a point that do you think the Packers should have made a bigger push for DK Metcalf? I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, so no.
Yeah, I think that contract was too big for what he brings.
Yeah.
That's a huge contract.
I would have loved to have seen him in Green Bay. He's a big body, but I just
And he
think they
fly,
can
but
address.
He's just a vertical threat.
I think they can address what they need in the draft if they were going to. But now here's the thing: are they going to do it? Right now, it's Luther Burden. Now, if Luther Burden goes off the clock right here, now I'm left thinking, okay, the Packers, their defensive tackle is gone. In my opinion, their offense or their wide receiver is gone. In my opinion, because like you talked me off the Matthew Golden ledge.
Watch them take Matthew Golden. But he's like 5'11". He's built like Greg Jennings kind of. He's 5'11", 190.
So he's like
that.
your
Maybe
slot. I mean,
Jennings was more of an outside guy.
He was, but
he could play in the slot too.
So the San Diego Chargers, they've got 9 seconds. They're squeezing every last second out of this. Man, this is bringing me back to last year where the Packers it's building up and there's a few guys available. I'm really hoping somebody just said actually in this,
what is your favorite Packer?
Campbell. Gooseby said that the Chargers, he's guessing go Campbell. I hope you're right. I hope that they do go Campbell. So here's the thing. If Campbell's available,
Campbell's a really good linebacker.
Do the Packers take him and then look to replace, Quay Walker? because Edgerrin Cooper can play your middle. He can play anything. Edgerrin Cooper is legit a crazy.
That would be something if that's who they took. That would be pretty incredible.
Would you? I mean, like incredible in a good way or a bad way?
Good, because I think he could play some edge. Honestly, I think he could do a little bit of the edge. He could rush. I mean, an amazing pass rusher. So I don't know. That would be a pretty crazy pick. And then you think like you got those three, Walker, Edgerrin Cooper, and then potentially Jihad Campbell. I mean, that's a bunch of athletes and in the middle of the field of your defense there. So
No, yeah, you're right, dude. I mean, so if the Packers do go that route, that's something I didn't see coming. I wouldn't be upset because here's the thing. At the end of the day, the Packers certainly are going to need another linebacker because I can't stand personally their options that they have right now as far as their depth chart goes.
I agree.
Their depth chart is not great. And when you take a look at your Isaiah McDuffie, that's there right now. I think
gave him a big contract too, like 3-year contract.
They did.
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't see the particulars to that contract. So
They're
the
paying
fact-
him as a starter, basically.
that
Maybe
pisses me off.
Maybe 2 years, 12 million, something like that. Or 2
Jeez,
years,
that's
10
terrible. Isaiah McDuffie. Eric Wilson was a better Isaiah McDuffie, even though he's old. He's 31 this year.
Yeah.
Eric Wilson
I
had a phenomenal year. He's a great special teams player. Here we go.
I think Tyron Hopper.
With the
It's a disappointment.
22nd
Yeah.
pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Chargers select Omarion Hampton, running back.
No kidding.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Not who we thought.
Hampton, we knew. I
Really
knew
good running back.
Hampton was going to be. I actually forgot about running back. Hampton, we knew was going to be the only other number 2
Wow.
guy gone as far as running backs go in the first round. So it makes sense that he goes to the Chargers. So right now, the Packers are on the clock, guys. Who cares about Hampton? Who cares about the freaking Chargers? You've got the Green Bay Packers that are on the clock right now, and the best players available, in your opinion, are who?
Oh, definitely. You got Will Johnson. Man, even though I don't think that they need to take a corner in the first round, I could see them doing that. I think Mike Green, but I think you've got that checkered past. Michael Williams is like a super fast, twitched up athlete, edge defender. I could see them doing that as well. If it's a receiver, you guy, I've said it a million times tonight, Luther Burden's my guy, but we'll see.
Dude, the Packer fans are on the TV right now. They've got to be going nuts right now. I'm going to turn on the volume for one hot second.
This is a back that is versatile. He's a workhorse player. He had 25 touches in 8.
Okay, so they're talking about Hampton. Oh, God.
I'll say Henry.
Jason and your brother, what is your favorite Packers first round pick? Well, I mean, that's a loaded question because here's the thing
In history?
Yeah, in history. I think that's what he's saying, in history. So if it's in history, it's going to be Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, just the whole way that whole thing played out, falling in the draft, him sitting in the green room, getting depressed,
Yes.
looking at his phone. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
it's
then
Aaron
him coming to
Rodgers.
Green Bay with the chip on his shoulder. And I got to say it again, best quarterback in NFL history.
Otherwise, I would actually say Clay Matthews. I
was a
was
good
so
one, too.
excited
That was
when
a
they
really
got
good
Clay
one.
Matthews. It was
Just
just
beautiful
like, those
locks
locks.
of hair. Amazing.
I
very jealous of it.
Yeah, it is Aaron Rodgers, then Clay Matthews. I want to know yours, Henry. Let me know what you think. Who is your favorite first round pick? So Peyton is like, okay, here we go. We got Will Johnson on the board right now. Will Johnson. It's a no brainer. If the Packers are looking to move on, and I think Brian Gutekunst is going to play his cards right here, right now. If the Packers are thinking about moving on from Jair Alexander, they're certainly going to be taking Will Johnson.
Yeah.
Will Johnson's the guy that they're going to be going.
Oh, yeah,
with.
for sure. If you're talking about getting rid of Jair Alexander, even though they paid Hobbs a massive contract.
But Luther
Nate
Burden's still
Hobbs-
available, right?
Luther Burden's available. Nate Hobbs
Oh my gosh.
is a really was the best slot corner in the NFL the last couple seasons, or one of the best slot corners in the NFL. So, but that's where they've been playing Javon Bullard. So I don't know what their plan is at cornerback because you signed Nate Hobbs, You've got Nixon on the outside.
Yeah.
And then you've got Bullard in the slot, and that's really solid. Then you've got Valentine as your backup. I could see picking up some depth pieces.
Yeah.
But that's why I don't know if they would spend a first round pick on a cornerback. I don't know. I don't necessarily see it.
So,
but that's what they'll probably end up doing.
You really do think that?
I do. I think that they're good at cornerback. Honestly, I think you maybe wait till third, fourth round to pick up some guys. There's some good corners out of shoot, I'm drawing a blank, but there's some good corners later in the draft.
Oh yeah, there are. I mean, you've got like Trey Amos is one of those guys that you can get in the second round. Trey Amos potentially. I mean, unless he goes late first round here. I mean, that's somebody.
Ryan Thomas is one. Maxwell Harrison, like
Benjamin Morrison.
Yeah. Dorian Strong. There's some Jordan Hancock of Ohio State I really like.
Okay, so then you're saying the Packers, because there's so many corners available, the Packers, it'd be beyond stupid if they don't go wide receiver. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, kind of. I think they need to address the weakest point on their team,
which
is wide receiver.
Which in some arguments, people are going to say their weakest link is their edge rushing. So you're saying Mike Green is available. You've got Burton, Luther
Williams,
Burton available. You got
Michael Williams.
Yeah.
I could see edge defender or receiver. That's what I'm leaning towards. Again, they kind of go back to like they paid a massive contract to they paid a massive contract.
Are you talking about edge rushers?
Edge rushers.
Rashawn Gary?
Rashawn Gary, thank you. So Luther Bird. Rashawn Gary. They've got
No, here's the thing. You know that the Packers right now, they're gonna milk every bit of this 2 minutes and 18 seconds. It's hosted in Green Bay.
Yeah.
And they're like, Gutekunst is going to wait till that. Have they even showed Gutekunst yet?
They did, yeah.
They have?
That is insane. Like, I don't remember any draft having that many people outside like that. That is absolutely insane. But leave it to Lambeau Field and people in Green Bay to do that. They must have made their selection. So here we go.
They seem.
Let's see if
they seem happy with their pick.
Matt LaFleur's over there. Let's see if he looks happy.
Man,
panned away from him.
You're gonna be able to tell. Do they go Josh Simmons because he's the best left tackle available?
Come on.
No, I mean, or do they trade back?
No, the pick is in.
So the last pick. So you're going through. You got Jordan Morgan, Lucas Van Ness.
Right. That's why I don't think they'll take an edge defender, because they've got all that money tied up in Rashawn Gary. They've just picked Lucas Van Ness. Like I guess it wouldn't be any different than when they signed the Smith brothers and then they drafted Rashawn Gary. So maybe.
Oh, I'm so nervous right now because I don't know what Gutekunst is thinking, because whatever makes logical sense, Gutekunst is thinking the opposite. It's just for us as Packer fans, we're sitting here. We weren't privy to all the workouts that they were able to see, the interviews that they were able to see. Mike Green is the best edge rusher available at the moment. You've got
that pass.
Luther Burton, but he's got the pass. You've got Luther Burton, who's the best wide receiver available. To me, it's like you got to take Burton right now. He's the best guy right now. So if the Packers take a number one wide receiver, Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers are going to turn over tables and be like, "Are you freaking serious? You never like did that when we were here. Are you like, man?"
Goot always does the wrong thing.
So
yes
Goot surprises.
Yeah. Yes,
because honestly, when we're looking at Gutekunst's, since he has been the general manager in Green Bay, Jair Alexander, Rashawn Gary, you cannot say anything bad about Jair or him. Then you've got Jordan Love, you've got Quay Walker. Say what you want about Quay Walker. Pick is in. Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so freaking nervous because the last time that this happened, I was so let down.
I was ready to celebrate Cooper DeJean, and I was gonna go nuts.
Okay, here we go. We got to freaking hear this.
It's gonna be an offensive tackle. You watch.
Okay.
almost like we're there. Oh, it's Mark Murphy. Calvin Banks, Texas offensive
Green Bay,
tackle.
it's your time. To make this historic pick, please give it up for first team All-Pro.
Oh my gosh, what do they do?
Two-time Super Bowl champion and Packers president and CEO, Mark Murphy.
Okay, so Mark Murphy's going to sit here and talk for a second. I mean, do you care what he says right now?
No, I mean, no.
I really don't care what he says right now because here's the thing. He's going to be introducing, I think, a Packer fan that's going to be calling out the pick.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Bringing the draft here to Green Bay for the best draft in the history of the
That is
NFL.
insane.
Right here.
How many people are there?
Oh my gosh, dude, I'm so
On
nervous.
behalf of the Packers, Packer fans here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and everywhere, because our fans are everywhere,
Absolutely.
it is my pleasure to welcome you all to the NFL Draft at Lambeau Field.
Okay, here we go.
It is our honor and privilege to host this wonderful event in our community, particularly since we are the only community-owned team in the NFL.
Okay, so Henry just said you got to be kidding me.
Oh, he wants.
Oh, okay. No more chit chat. I thought you were
okay.
saying you saw what they did.
We also have the best owners in the NFL. And we also want to celebrate the special connection we have with our fans.
Okay, here we
that
go.
dates back to the early days of professional football. With the 23rd pick
There it
in
is.
the 2025 NFL Draft, the 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers, for the first time since 2000.
What?
Did it.
What? What? Woo! Yeah.
I said they'll pick Matthew Golden. I'm shocked. I mean,
Okay. I mean,
look
I'm
at them going nuts. I'm not. I'm kind of
Okay.
surprised, but I'm happy. I'm really happy because he's twitched up. He's fast.
dude. You talked me off. I was on a
Only
Matthew
because he's
Golden
smaller.
high coming into this draft, and then you talked me off the ledge.
Well,
Now,
okay, so he's a vertical threat. There's no doubt. He's a vertical threat,
yes.
and they need that. So my hands are sweaty. I was so nervous.
Okay, so Luther Burden they pass up on to go and get Matthew Golden, and I think they do the right thing. And I know some of those people out there listening, they might be like, okay, really, we didn't address the cornerback position, but we've talked about it. There's going to be so many players available as far as the cornerback position that are going to be very productive corners in the league. You've got Benjamin Morrison, you've got guys that are certainly slated, and I could easily see actually the Packers going third round if there's a couple of guys available, maybe another wide receiver.
Yeah.
You've got Mike Green that's still out there slipping. I mean, is his pass that big of a ghost right now? Anyways, we're going to talk about that here in a second. But when you start talking about Matthew
Yeah, let's talk
Golden,
Matthew Golden.
so Matthew Golden, who the Packers selected, I mean, this is one of those players that I'm completely shocked that the Packers finally did it.
It's just, I never thought they'd do it.
Yeah, so Howard says goodbye, Dobbs. Here's the thing. I think the Packers are certainly looking to get rid of Dobbs, but that was for draft capital. And I don't see now a world where the Packers get rid of Dobbs unless it's to the Dallas Cowboys who need, that was one of the things. Maybe the Packers offload, Dobbs to the Dallas Cowboys who showed a lot of interest in him, which I would be totally on board with them parting ways. But you got Golden, a talented player whose movement skills should translate well into the NFL. His advanced avenues of success, whether being through beating press, impressive footwork after the catch
That's it right
ability,
there.
and kick return. Yeah,
The
here's the
footwork, and that's
Yeah.
what the Packers love in their receivers is that get off the line type of footwork, like the Devonta Adams or
So
yeah, Dontavian Wicks.
Yep.
Like that footwork is key, and not only does he have the footwork, but he's got the speed to just blow by somebody.
So here's the only problem, though, and this is something that you brought up, and you said that the Packers or that Matthew Golden, in your opinion, was a number 2 wide receiver, and that's what freaks me out right now, because I think that was kind of the knock of like he's a very high end number 2 wide receiver. So is he a high end number 2 wide receiver like a T Higgins number 2? Because T Higgins is a number 1 wide receiver in my book, but where
Yeah,
he's
sure,
at right now, he's a
right.
number
And
2
There
receiver.
was talk of the Packers going after Higgins in free agency, which never made it. So yeah, I mean, I'm happy. I'm excited. I would have preferred Luther Burden, but maybe Matthew Golden's probably a more established route runner, which is a huge deal for the Packers. They don't like guys that have like a really small route tree. They like guys that
That's a
can
good
run
point.
pretty much every route, and that is a Matthew Golden. So Luther Burden, although probably faster, I think Matthew Golden's probably your better route runner, and he can do pretty much anything that the Packers offense will want.
So Matthew Burden, I'm not sure why, and leave your comments as to why he's slipping so far in the draft, because I didn't see him going past 15 in this draft.
Which one?
Luther Burden.
Yeah.
So you've got Matthew Golden, now a Green Bay Packer. So if you're looking at the Packers depth chart at the wide receiver, you've got Christian Watson, who's going to be gone for half the season.
Yep. Well, at least.
Yeah. At least.
You're talking about Halloween, Thanksgiving. He's coming back, and
when he comes back, he's going to have some hamstring injuries because he's going to be getting back into the mix.
Yep.
He's going to have some hamstring paralysis there. So then you're going to have Jaden Reed, who, in my opinion, one of the best slot receivers in the league. Romeo Doubs, who, to be honest with you, I'm kind of over Romeo Doubs. I love him. He's the most reliable wide receiver in Green Bay.
That's not saying much.
Which isn't saying much, but the fact that Romeo Doubs did the Packers dirty last year.
Yeah, right.
And he said it was personal reasons. I think it was mental health. Maybe he was checking out, and I don't want to discount any of that type of stuff because I know a lot of people battle with that stuff. But I think it was more the fact that his feelings were hurt. He wasn't becoming the number 1 wide receiver in Green Bay, getting the targets that he desired.
That's what I remember reading.
Yeah.
And hearing was that he was not happy with his role in the offense. And he was forced to miss a game for, I thought, conduct detrimental to the team.
Yep.
Right. So
yeah, he was. Yep, absolutely. He was suspended a game.
Yeah.
For that. But now you've got Matthew Golden now into the mix. You've got Jaden Reed, Romeo Doubs, Christian Watson, who's going to come back, Matthew Golden, Dontavian Wicks, and then Malik Heath. So when you start talking about talented players, and I don't give a frick what's happening right now.
Oh, good.
Well, another guard gone.
A lot of guards.
That's 3 guards gone in the first round, and I thought there was going to be
the first
one.
24 picks.
Wow, that's shocking. And that's the Minnesota Vikings. So the
Only 2
Vikings,
tackles, 2 offensive tackles.
the Vikings needed to replace some of what they lost in free agency on the offensive line, but I did not see them going. Why would they not go
They're
the
getting
best
old
safety available?
Yeah, they're needing a safety replacement at some point. So
honestly, when we're looking at the NFC North right now, the Chicago Bears belly flopped.
I think, yeah.
You got the Minnesota Vikings belly flopping as well, in my opinion, with this pick. Now, it's never bad to build some rapport on the offensive line, especially when you got a guy like JJ McCarthy that you've got your future built up in. But give me your thoughts as the Packers are compared to them. The Packers are complete A compared to the rest of the NFC North right now, and the Packers really stepped outside their comfort zone.
Yep.
Win a wide receiver.
Yep.
Now, what do you think the Detroit Lions are going to be doing? Because I'm pissed with the fact that, in my opinion, the Detroit Lions are going to have so many options with their pick right now, which I'm not happy about.
Yeah, I could see them going cornerback, and I think it'll be
Will Johnson. Dude,
they need help on the secondary. They need help along the defensive line. So, I could see that happening. Or you got they need help on all 3 levels on the defensive side of the ball. Probably linebacker before defensive line. So I honestly think it'll be a cornerback or a linebacker. So you got Will Johnson and you got the linebacker. from Alabama. I can't remember.
Okay,
Josh
so
Campbell.
hear me out a second. Okay, so everybody listening right now, I just came up with this. So you've got the Baltimore Ravens selecting ahead of the Detroit Lions. You remember last year, the Detroit Lions just jumped up ahead of the Green Bay Packers and selected Terrion Arnold. So they went ahead of the Packers. What if, now there's been interest from the Baltimore Ravens in Jair Alexander. And
Oh, that would be phenomenal.
What if the
Somebody trade back
Packers
up?
trade up into, so they give them their second round pick and Jair Alexander to trade up to take Will Johnson? How
I
pumped would you be?
ecstatic. I would. Oh,
Can
I
you
would
imagine
I
that?
would lose my mind.
Seriously,
And
like,
then they take a cornerback or an edge defender, whatever.
Yeah,
I would
I mean,
lose my mind.
Mike Green, Will Johnson, like you name it. Right now, you've got so many talented, gifted players right now that are available. Geez, I would lose my mind too.
There's been a lot of reaches, like with some of these guards have been
Guards.
taken. Colston
Yeah.
Loveland.
Yeah, the
Thank
tight end out of Michigan.
Yeah, I think there's been some
There's-
pretty big reaches.
Good point.
So the potential to trade up, if you want to trade up, you got to find a willing partner. That's part of it. So, but if they can pull it off, I mean, that would be absolutely incredible.
So who's the possibility to you in your mind? So you've got the Houston Texans picking next. So they're on the clock. Then you got the Rams. Then you got the Ravens, and then the Lions. You don't do jack with the Lions, but then you got the Commanders, you got Buffalo, Kansas City, Philadelphia. Kansas City, Philadelphia are willing partners, in my opinion. Everything that I've read, they're willing partners. But who do you see to get Will Johnson or somebody of that caliber?
If you want Will Johnson, I think that you're going to have to move up quick because like Houston's going to, I think, take defense, or actually, I think Houston's going to take that offensive tackle. Actually, from,
Josh Simmons
from Texas. No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think, especially being a hometown kid there, just playing in Houston, I see that being the pick for Houston. I think the Rams, like they might be a potential to trade out and get more picks. Kelvin Banks, right?
So Kelvin Banks
I
is
can
the
see Kelvin
tackle that
Banks
you're
going
talking
I
about.
can see Kelvin Banks going to Houston.
Jeez. Okay, so everybody that's listening right now, let me know. Like, okay, so John says Golden could turn out to be the best receiver in the draft.
It's very
You
possible.
never know, and that's a great point, John, that you're making, because that is something that we did hear about, that Matthew Golden. In fact, there was some rap sheets where I actually read that Matthew Golden was the best wide receiver in this year's draft. And
Yeah. Right. I saw.
now whether or not,
Same ones.
yeah, so you're right. Could that happen? Here's the thing. I'm just super pumped that the Packers stepped outside of their comfort zone.
I still can't believe it.
Yeah, I'm shocked. And
Okay. I'll take it.
Now do the Packers trade up? So don't go anywhere, because you've got
New York Giants are picking.
So Shadir Sanders apparently wasn't good enough in his interviews at all. One of the worst interviews I hear. Really, I didn't know that. Is that the case? Because if that's the case,
That's what I heard. Yeah. Because
because
you heard what his dad was doing during the private workouts too, right?
no,
Basically telling them not to pay attention to what the scouts were telling them to do, NFL scouts, and do your thing and don't worry about them and F
Really?
them. Yeah.
yeah. So you see the chip on his shoulder. That's not going to be appealing to any NFL team out there looking as that quarterback, as the prime leader out there. I'm just curious, with the players that are available, do the Packers trade up right now? So you've got did the New York Giants just trade in?
They had it. Yeah, they did. I didn't see the trade.
Oh my
but
gosh, the Giants. So I didn't see that. So this is what we talked
Houston
about
traded
earlier.
down.
This is what we talked about earlier. The New York Giants are going to trade into the late first round
Yeah.
to take Shadir Sanders. And so Sanders is gone. I will.
I'll be shocked if it's not him. Maybe it's Jackson Dart.
Maybe it's Jackson Dart, but I
Maybe.
don't see it. I think it's Shadir Sanders. I really do. Even though he didn't interview well, from what John was saying, I still think
coming out.
The Houston Texans have traded the 25th pick to the New York Giants. With the 25th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the New
Dart.
York Giants select
Yeah.
Jackson Dart.
Oh, wow. Okay, so Peyton calls it and John called it. Giants select Jackson Dart. And here's the thing.
Actually, I called it.
And Dan called it. Everybody's calling it. I didn't. I actually thought Shadir Sanders was going to be going. I called it at the beginning of the draft that the Giants were going to be trading back into the draft. I thought 100% certainty that they were going Shadir Sanders. So if you're Sanders right now and you're looking at the teams available and you're looking
There's nobody
at
there that's quarterback needy, except for maybe Los Angeles, right? You've got Stafford, but he's what, 37, 38.
But didn't they just give him like multiple years right now?
I thought it was a 3-year extension. I don't know
Okay,
how many years.
I think you're right. I think it was a 3-year, but Jackson
That's
Dart,
like
in my opinion,
The
is
only quarterback needy team out there.
Jackson Dart was the best quarterback in this draft, in my opinion. So now you've got Malik Neighbors paired with Jackson Dart. Boy, the Giants are hitting a home run on this draft
Yeah, they're doing good.
because they get the edge rusher. I mean, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. Didn't they take Abdul Carter?
Yeah.
Okay, so you've got Abdul Carter and Jackson Dart going to the New York Giants, which if you're the New York Giants, like how can it get any better? And then you've got Malik Neighbors there. Wow.
You got somebody that can rush the passer, and you got somebody that can pass the ball, like potentially, right? So you're talking about difference makers. That's usually where you go. You go for your pass rusher and you go for your quarterbacks. So
if you're the Dallas Cowboys, are you saying, oh my gosh, okay, so here we've got the Washington Commanders who are better than us, the Philadelphia Eagles who are certainly better than us, and now you've got the New York Giants who just took that big leap forward with these 2 picks in this year's draft.
Yep.
So now the Dallas Cowboys are staring at the bottom, looking up, saying,
which
okay,
is awesome to see.
which is great to see, because if you were a Packer fan, we've seen a lot of years where under Brett Favre and the Dallas Cowboys and Jerry's world, Michael Irvin and Troy Aikman, the most overrated quarterback. Eli Manning and Troy Aikman, 2 of the most overrated quarterbacks.
Oh yeah, I
in
mean
history. Way overrated.
Yes.
Just built around a good system.
Yeah, good coaching. Both teams, right? And Eli Manning never really had like great receivers, but if you look at his stats, he's just like a mediocre quarterback. So I don't understand the love other than the name, right? The Manning name. Between Archie and Peyton, and so you've got Eli that I think lived off of that name. Honestly, my opinion, I always hated him.
Okay, so if you're and leave your comments here too. Who's the most overrated quarterback in history? Now, keep in mind, I'm saying best, most overrated. So you've got somebody like Eli Manning, accomplished Super Bowl winner. You've got Phillip Rivers. You got some of those guys that are considered. So who's the
Tom
best,
Brady.
Most overrated quarterback? Tom Brady. I mean, I'll give you that because he is legit.
To say that he's the best quarterback of all time because
He's
he
not.
won so many Super Bowls, he's definitely
He's
not.
not.
In fact, actually, he said in an article a month or 2 ago that hands down the best quarterback that he has ever seen in his life is, who do you think?
I don't know.
Aaron Rodgers. He said
Seriously?
the best, most talented quarterback in NFL history. Yes, he said that.
Wow.
So you're hearing it from who everybody says is the GOAT just because he won Super Bowls. I mean,
Because he knew that.
any sport, football is the most team-oriented sport that's out there.
Yeah.
Like, you can't win with just one player. You have to have all 22 on the team
Yeah.
to make it happen. So, Tom Brady's awesome. Don't get me wrong, but
Yeah, no, he is. But
I wasn't saying he's overrated. I was saying that as a joke.
No, but that's not a joke when you start talking about because everybody's like, okay, he's by far the GOAT. Sure, accomplishments, Bill Belichick, all that. Sure, he's the GOAT of football.
Eli said,
Rams have traded the 26th pick to the Atlanta Falcons.
What? Another trade?
I
With
said the Rams were going to trade out.
26th pick in the 2025 NFL
You're right.
Draft, the Atlanta Falcons select James Pierce Jr.
That's a good pick. There's your
So
edge defender.
here, if I'm the Atlanta Falcons, so the Atlanta Falcons picked 15th overall. I thought they were going to trade their pick out of the first round because they needed draft capital. So what the
Curious.
frick did they have to
I'm
give up?
curious how they did that. It must have traded next year's pick. Because how are you getting back into the first round?
There's no way you're
They
getting
have
back
no
to the
draft capital.
Wow. So if you're the Atlanta Falcons, you are just completely just going all in the here and now. And if you're the general manager of the Atlanta Falcons, and if I'm an Atlanta Falcons fan base, and here's what we have to be grateful for is Brian Gutekunst as our general manager. You've got a general manager in Atlanta that's doing a terrible job, in my opinion. You throw a bunch of money at Kirk Cousins that you bench for Michael Penix, and then now you've got zero draft capital. Now you're trading what little you do have.
Yeah, I don't know how they
the
did. It'd be
future years.
interesting to see what they did to trade for that. So, yeah, like some of the going back to your first question, Iggy B says Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson, Eli Manning.
I would say Russell Wilson's very overrated.
Yeah, I mean, for the accomplishments that he
Most
has,
overrated of all time, I would say Eli Manning. I agree with what you said.
Eli Manning is right up there. I actually like what you said with the Tom Brady bit, because to label him the GOAT of all time means anything less than that is overrated. So, and I don't think he is the greatest quarterback of all time. So I think you can make the argument that. So Dak Prescott, yeah, my gosh, dude.
One.
Dak Prescott
He has the star on the side of the helmet. That's what it is.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's not that guy.
Yeah.
In Dallas. So now you're Dallas Cowboys and you literally have CeeDee Lamb. That's it.
Yeah, nothing. No running backs.
Yeah, that's it. And you've got Dak Prescott, who's overrated. And
they got Ferguson as tight end. He's good. But
yeah, I mean, you've got some pieces there.
Not many.
Defensively, they've got some pieces for sure, but offensively, they're a struggle bus for sure. So, Jay Smooth, what did Jay Smooth say? Did I miss that? Oh, Dak Prescott. Yeah, never mind. I didn't miss that. Okay, so here's the thing. We do know that it's possible to trade back into the first round. So I don't want anybody to go anywhere yet, because there is that possibility that Brian Gutekunst shocks the world, uses Jair Alexander and or Romeo Doubs as trade bait to move into the first round. But is Romeo Doubs a suitor for anybody available?
Well, I was going to say, who out of those teams left needs a cornerback or a receiver?
The Detroit Lions.
They need a cornerback.
I mean, they do need a wide
Buffalo needs a receiver.
Buffalo does need a wide receiver, so that's a very good point. So could you see the Packers trading with Buffalo Bills?
Kansas City needs a receiver.
Yeah. And I have heard Kansas City is interested in Romeo Doubs.
Oh, really?
So could the Packers, if Will Johnson, I was going to say Will Smith, if Will Johnson is still available at 31, could the Packers trade back into the first round using Romeo Doubs and say a second round pick or something to go and get that?
Yeah, see,
Will Johnson.
Here's the thing about Romeo Doubs, right? He's going into his 4th year, right?
Yeah.
So either you're just going to flat out let him walk, or you're going to pay him a crazy amount of money for a number 2 or number 3 receiver, which is getting out of hand, and it's not worth that money. So honestly, I'm a huge fan of trading him if it's possible. I just don't know that they'll be able to pull it off.
Dallas was the suitor from what I heard, but Dallas obviously, could they be the suitor in the 3rd round or 2nd round or
2nd round? Yeah, right. You wouldn't get a 1st round for Romeo Doubs.
No.
2nd round, 3rd round, probably. Maybe 2nd round and a pick, or 2nd round and a player pick, right? So you get 2nd round Romeo Doubs and a pick, right? So I could see that happening.
All right. So, I mean, time's going to tell. We know that the Detroit Lions are about ready to be on the clock, but we do know that of the 3 teams that have picked so far in the NFC North, the Packers certainly have won, which is not really the trajectory over day 1 in the draft, where you're saying at the end of the night, the Green Bay Packers won the draft in the NFC North.
Oh,
I mean, when's the last time you freaking said that? Certainly wasn't last year.
Yeah, I mean, I even go back to all of them. Like, I would have to say you go back to all their 1st round picks during Gutekunst's era. it'd be Jair Alexander was the one where like, yeah, that's an amazing pick. Like Rashawn Gary was a project. Darnell Savage, who I was excited about because they moved up to get him.
Yeah.
Jordan Love, I was not happy. Like I understood the reasoning behind it, but like that was a year that you needed to get like a Justin Jefferson, trade up to get Justin Jefferson. That was that year.
Iggy says, do the Packers have any more first? No, the Packers do not have any more first unless they trade up. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we're kind of talking about, right? So if the Packers trade up, yeah, it's to get like a difference maker for sure. And
there's difference makers out there. There really is. And the draft is in Lambeau Field. So it's very plausible that the Packers do see themselves maybe taking a risk, taking a jump, wowing the crowd that's there.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you could easily see something like that happening. Yeah. So I'm wanting to like stay put because I do think it's okay. The pick is in for Baltimore right now. And so if you're the Baltimore Ravens, you really don't need much. And unless you're looking Josh Simmons as your offensive tackle that's still available, that is the only dude where you're like, okay, Josh Simmons makes sense. That's who actually thought Brian Gutekunst was going to take.
I would have lost my mind.
But I thought they were going to trade back. I'm actually shocked because I think they could have gotten Golden. So I think that Gutekunst could have traded back.
You could see, I could see Detroit getting somebody like Matthew Golden.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Detroit does want to go wide receiver.
I think so.
Luther Burden's still available.
In the 2025 NFL Draft, the Baltimore Ravens select Malachi Starks.
Okay. I mean, best safety in.
That's not a shock. That's a good pick for them.
Yeah,
they always draft well.
They do, and they always go defense, and they always seem to figure it out. Defensively, they struggled last year. They were supposed to be so good defensively, and then they fell flat around playoff time, kind of like the Minnesota Vikings and the Detroit Lions. So yeah, I mean, you've got Malachi Starks is one of those guys that's certainly a difference maker. Best safety available. I actually had him going in the top 10.
Yeah, he's a really good football player. I mean, and he kind of follows that tradition of great safeties that play for Baltimore. I think he'll be the next one, right? So, yeah, I mean, Baltimore continues to build. And Baltimore is a lot like Green Bay. They pick late in the draft, but they somehow always find a way. And maybe their picks aren't as good as Baltimore's in the first round, but there's a reason they always pick in the back of the draft. Like they're always a good
because they're a good football team.
Same with Green Bay, always a good football team.
Pittsburgh Steelers, Green Bay Packers, Baltimore New England Patriots. They all do it right because they typically now that you have found the New England Patriots picking in the first or in the first top 10.
Yeah, the last 2 years. Yep.
But typically those types of teams, like you said, I mean, great point. You got good teams that just pick later in the rounds because it's like they know what they're doing. They got great general managers, and say what you want about Brian Gutekunst, but there's a reason why the Packers are always in the 20s selecting. Yeah, because they're freaking good. And
yeah, they're always a Super Bowl contender. That's the thing. Some years better than others. That's true of every team, but they're always they're always in the discussion for the Super Bowl. So I think like even as a fan, that's like just something awesome and something to be like excited about, proud about. Not many teams can say that. Baltimore is one of those teams that can say that every year they're a Super Bowl contender.
Did you think that the Packers would you be saying that right now with Jordan Love as young as he is? Did you think that you'd be saying that as early?
No, especially
not.
last year, not 2024, 2023. 2023 was a shock. I remember driving home from a basketball tournament and watching the 49ers Packers game on my son's phone on the dash of the car as we're driving down the road. Probably not safe, but like, oh my gosh, that was an insane season. And, I think we had some bad luck last year, but I think honestly, the Packers can find that kind of mojo that they did in the 2023, get some good luck with health. I honestly think like they're them and the Eagles favorites out of the NFC.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. You heard it here.
Yes.
Dan
first,
is
right here.
stating
I say it every year.
first, the Packers,
Say it every year.
Eagles, favorites in the NFC to come out. Wouldn't shock me. I mean, the Packers are a young team, youngest team in the NFL over the last couple of years. They're only going to start getting better and better the more they gel, the more they play in the offseason together.
Yep. So Detroit's up.
The Detroit Lions are up right now, and I want so badly to laugh at them. But here's the thing. We're not going to be laughing because they're going to be taking Luther Burden right now, and
Oh,
that's
say
who I
that.
wanted the Packers to take. Now, I'm don't get me wrong. I'm excited that the Packers took Matthew Golden, and that was a guy that I said I absolutely wanted the Packers to take coming into the draft, but then this guy talks me out of it. But Matthew Burden is the guy that I wanted the Packers to take just in this draft where we were talking. And now the Detroit Lions are going to capitalize on a player that slipped. And now if this happens, unless the Lions belly flop, the Lions are looking at a wide receiver core of St. Brown,
Golden Tate.
St. Brown,
Yeah, I know.
Williams, and now if they can get Matthew Burden,
Yeah.
that's three really
Burden,
crazy solid. And then you've got your Sammy Laporta that's there, one of the more gifted tight ends in the league.
Yeah, coming off a down season, but that offense is stacked. They got two awesome running backs, the best offensive line in football, honestly. Maybe them and the Eagles.
They did lose somebody though of the offensive line, I think.
Was it their center?
Yeah, center or guard, one of the two.
There's somebody on the interior, but yeah, so I could see them maybe potentially going offensive line because you still got
Simmons.
Yeah, Josh Simmons. You still got the tackle from Calvin Banks from Texas available. Will Johnson. They need cornerback help. They don't need safeties. They're set at safety, but like they need cornerback. They do need linebacker help. So there's still
a good point. I mean,
still some really good defensive players on the board. I would be shocked if they took a receiver, honestly, knowing the defensive help they need, and that's what really cost them the playoffs was defense. So I would be shocked if they went offensive help. But here we go. The pick is in.
The pick is in. Roger Goodell's coming to the platform. Go Lions. You got somebody chiming in right
Shoe
here.
Company is back saying go Lions.
With the 28th pick
Here we go.
2025 NFL Draft, the Detroit Lions select Tyleik Williams.
Okay.
No kidding.
I'm actually shocked, and I'm kind of excited about it, just because.
That's all.
What?
I wanted the Packers to take him in the second round, but that's okay.
I did too, but I think he's a second round pick. I think the Lions could have traded back into the second round with the Tennessee Titans, who are actually looking to shop their pick. They have the third pick in the second round, and the Tennessee Titans are looking to shop it. I think the Lions could have taken him in the second round. So, for all intents and purposes, I liken that to Jordan Morgan last year for the Packers.
I would agree. That's a good assessment. Yeah.
So whatever, like I think Jordan Morgan could pan out. Sure. I did want him in Green Bay, and I agree with you. I think that would have been a great pick for the Packers in the second round. The Lions took him in the first round. So again, we go back to the grading analysis of the NFC North, and as of right now, unless the Packers or the Lions or the Vikings or or the Bears, whatever, if anybody trades up into the second round and maybe takes that Will Johnson type guy or Mike Green or guys that are available, I think right now the Packers won the first round of the draft in the NFC North.
Yeah, for sure. There's no doubt.
To
me, all the other three teams were all a reach. The Bears taking the tight end, probably the second or third best tight end in the draft.
Yes, I know. I freaking love that. I think the Bears
guard. There's when they clearly need some safety help, cornerback help. I'm really surprised, but that just again opens the door for the Packers to do something really cool either the end of the round, which I'm not getting my hopes up, but more likely day two, maybe picking an extra pick in the second and third round of the draft.
Okay, so you're saying you're not getting your hopes up, and I'm with you on that in the sense that that's not Brian Gutekunst's typical MO to have, to trade up into the late first round to get that second first round pick. However, given the fact that if Will Johnson is available, how do you, in your right mind, if you know you're going to be parting ways with with Jair, man, how do you not do that? Or the Tennessee Titans, who pick third in the second round tomorrow, how do you not maybe trade up to get that pick in the second round? Because you're not going to have to give up as much.
Right.
But do the Tennessee Titans need, could they use
extra picks?
Jair Alexander as trade bait, or Romeo Dobbs as trade bait and a second round pick?
Yeah, you got
to move up in the first with Kansas City Chiefs.
You got a new quarterback in Tennessee. Why not give him a new receiver?
Yeah. Okay.
So,
all right.
I don't know.
So let me know. What do you guys think? So do you see the Packers trading up either in the first round, or do you see them trading with the Tennessee Titans to move up? Say, if for whatever freaking reason, if Will Johnson or Mike Green, because I'm the only reason why I'm saying those two guys is because I think they're the best two players available for the Packers' needs. If those two guys happen to slip into, because they're not going to go much longer, late or early first or early second round, do you see the Packers trading up to get those guys? Leave your comments. Let me know your thoughts there. I'm super excited right now. Packers really couldn't have done any better. You've had Emeka Egbuka was already off the table.
Yep.
Luther Burden still is available. Did the Packers trade up and get?
No, that would be something. They double dip and get two receivers. That'd be crazy.
Not only are we going to give Jordan Love one wide receiver, we're going to give two, and we're going to trade Romeo Dobbs. I would be okay with that.
Yeah, because honestly, like Jaden Reed right now is your number one receiver on the Packers, and he's a slot guy. Not that you can't like do a lot of damage with a slot guy, but you need to be able to live on the outside or have somebody that can stretch the field. Because that's really what ultimately opens up stuff underneath for your slot guys or for your tight end that runs up the seam. So without a deep threat like that, Christian Watson being out, and you don't pick somebody like a Matthew Golden or a Luther Burden. Yeah, you saw what happened last year. They struggle.
Yeah. No, really good point. Jay Smooth is saying, I can see a trade with Tennessee. I can too. I know that the Tennessee Titans are looking to shop that pick. And they've already made it well known that they weren't going to trade their number one pick, but they said we are going to be trading we're open to shoppers for the early second round pick. So we do know that Brian Gutekunst, could go shopping if he wants to. And then Peyton says, I hope they trade too. If we trade, it would be a complete shock. But, honestly, when Gutekunst went and got Xavier McKinney, got Josh Jacobs in free agency, did he not give you that shock factor?
Yeah.
And when you're talking about coaches in the NFC North, who do you think the best coach in the NFC North is? Because you got some good coaches in the NFC North right now. You got Ben Johnson, Dan Campbell. You've got what's his name in Minnesota?
Kevin.
Is it Kevin? Kevin O'Connell. Yeah. Kevin O'Connell, and then you've got obviously Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. So who do you think, if you're rating coaches?
I'll be honest.
Wait 1 sec. Because I want to hear what you have to say.
Tunsil and Deebo Samuel, and now
with the 29th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Washington Commanders select Josh Conerly Jr. Tackle, Oregon.
Again,
they need offensive line help.
Yeah, but you pass up on Josh Simmons. Like I'm shocked that Josh Simmons is falling.
Maybe the Packers traded for a tackle. They don't need it, but yeah, maybe they do.
So get back. So if you're rating the coaches in the NFC North, and I want you guys to chime in too. John says Matt LaFleur all day long. Jay Smooth says Matt LaFleur all day long. Okay, so
yeah, I'm trying not to be a homer, and I do like Matt LaFleur a lot. I'll be honest, when Didn't Matt LaFleur and Dan Campbell start at the same time, or
Yep.
Dan Campbell was the year after?
No, Dan Campbell was the
I
year
really
after.
wanted Dan Campbell in Green Bay just for the fact of the
Did you
attitude,
really?
the attitude that he brings.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
So are you saying Dan Campbell right now?
no, I'm not. I wanted Dan Campbell in Green Bay. I think Kevin O'Connell is a lot like Matt LaFleur in the fact that he's innovative and he can get the most out of what talent he's got. Though he's got an amazing amount of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Yeah, I would say Matt LaFleur.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, look what he's done a lot with his team. He had 3 13-win seasons in a row, and nobody in NFL history has done that. So
you have Jordan Love goes down week 1 last year against the Philadelphia Eagles. And then you have to put in a quarterback that was dropped by, or that was traded to you by the Tennessee Titans for a 7th round draft pick that we ended up getting back and returned for Preston Smith. So, and then Matt LaFleur doesn't skip a beat. He just works with what he has. And I think that just proves that Matt LaFleur is that coach that's going to give you the best chance to win of the coaches available in the NFC North. But now we're talking about a stacked NFC North.
Yeah, he's stacked. Not just coaches. Ben Johnson's an unknown. Like, we know he's a good offensive mind in Detroit, but we don't know what kind of coach he's going to be. But yeah, like all 4 teams have potentially all 4 good coaches, good teams all the way around. Look at the rosters top to bottom. Like, it's going to be another really tough division for sure this year.
It is, yeah. It's going to be crazy tough, but crazy loaded with talent. So I'm excited that the Packers decided to put a weapon around Jordan Love in the first round of this year's draft. Go with Matthew Golden, which is funny because you were saying all along,
I was saying the whole night.
Nah, man, I don't want Matthew Golden.
No.
But the Packers go Matthew Golden, but now stepping back, are you like, okay, I'm pretty excited that the Packers broke their streak.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt. They needed to. This should have happened many times before. Like, I don't know why you would go that long, have that big of a drought without taking a receiver in the first round. It just said I've never understood it, because the receivers are difference makers. They're game changers.
Yeah.
And usually, if you want to get the best athletic ones or the most game changing ones, you got to take them in the first round.
You do. And for the Packers, I really hope that Matthew Golden is that number 1 caliber type wide receiver, because they did take him in the first round. So it does put a lot of pressure, not just on Matthew Golden, but Brian Gutekunst, because he does the abnormal and he goes wide receiver in Green Bay when the draft is in Lambeau.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Doesn't disappoint the fans because he
were going nuts too.
Yeah. I mean, so pick is in for the Buffalo Bills. And this is a team that you said could potentially be a suitor for the Packers and a trade bait for Romeo Doubs only.
Yeah, apparently not. So,
but I don't think it's all lost for the Packers, because I do know that the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles have already made it clear that they're willing to trade out of the first round.
Yeah.
So that's certainly could be appealing for the Packers. Now, whether or not, the Chiefs, we've mentioned them as Romeo Doubs is a possible suitor.
Yeah.
Who do you think Goots needs to pick in the round 2? It just depends on who's available right now. Cornerback all day long.
Yeah, there seems to be like a lot of cornerbacks falling.
Yeah.
The only one that was Jahdae Barron was the only one taken, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, when you're looking at the corners off the no, you had Travis Hunter.
Oh, yeah, Travis Hunter, but
who's a multi-purpose. Then you have Barron, but you've got Will Johnson, Trey Amos, you've got Benjamin Morrison. You've got, so many good corners available. And
he's saying, who do you think he needs to pick though? Like, in your mind, where's the biggest need? Is it edge or is it cornerback?
That's only for Gutekunst to know, because I don't know what the frick he's thinking about Jair Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, that's the huge domino that needs to fall. If Jair stays, they have all day long. He's one of the top 5, top 10 cornerbacks in football when he's fully healthy.
Yeah.
So
now keep in mind, he is going to be owed $27 million next year.
Right.
Okay. So that's a big price tag to have for a corner.
have an even greater impact as a wish maker for Make-A-Wish. For the second time tonight, we have the opportunity to grant a wish for a deserving young man to announce the first pick for his favorite team.
Okay, so here we go. He's getting the crowd hyped right now.
Iggy thinks that it's time for Ja to go. He's hardly ever on the field. Yeah, I mean that's the whole reason behind this stuff.
It's a great point.
Didn't they want him to take a pay cut? He doesn't want to take a pay cut.
He's made it known he's not taking a pay cut.
So
you do know that the Packers already tried shopping him.
Yeah.
But he refused to take a pay cut to the team that they were going to shop him to. So now the Packers are like, okay, well, do we stick with Jair at the price? They can afford him right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like maybe you keep him and try to convince him to stay with the improved defense.
30th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Buffalo Bills select Maxwell Harrison. Let's go!
Take a cornerback.
Okay, so they take a corner.
The fastest player in the draft this year, right? I believe.
Yeah, he is.
Corner.
Yeah, he his combine was ridiculous. So Kentucky's corner is now off the board. So, but again, you still have Will Johnson, who is slipping and continuing to slip into the late rounds. And is it because the fact that he didn't run that 40 yet?
Yeah, and that's coming off an injury, right? He's coming off an injury.
Yeah. His injury, what's his injury? Do you remember what his injury is?
I can't remember.
So turf toe.
Was that what it was?
Yep. So that's why he was out. And then he came back and didn't do Michigan's pro day because he had a hamstring injury. So Will Johnson then didn't do the 40 again.
Yeah.
When he did a private workout just a handful of days ago, he didn't do the private workout for teams that were super interested in him. So now you've got Will Johnson that's still sitting there, falling, slipping, but it's like, should the Packers trade up to get him?
Yeah, I 100% think they should, because those are all injuries that are easily overcome. So
yeah, turf toe.
But like the cornerback out of Notre Dame, his name
Benjamin Morrison.
Yeah, so he had 2 hip surgeries. Like that's more intrusive, right? So you look at stuff like that. Even though I think he's probably your best cover corner.
Yeah. That's a good point, and I forget about that. So thanks for bringing that up, because you do have those hip injuries, and it's like, okay, what do you do with that? Because the Packers don't need to trade one injury-prone corner for another.
Yeah,
but
exactly right. And they always are conservative when it comes to like players' injury history, things like that. So at least, from past drafts, they have not. You look at their first 2 rounds, they don't draft anybody that's got like some massive injury history. So I think that they'll be looking, if they do go cornerback, I think somebody like Will Johnson, he was injured, like it lines up perfectly.
Or what about Trey Amos? So say Trey Amos is still on the board. Trey Amos is one of those guys that the Packers seem to have liked. And Trey Amos is projected to have gone in the first round. He didn't. He slips out of Mississippi.
Yep.
That's a good QB1 right now. That could be a good plug and play if you're looking for a Jair Alexander type of replacement. So then you've got the corners in Green Bay, which, you look at their depth chart. And so overall their depth chart, again, I'm not super in love with Keyshawn Nixon, but you got Nate Hobbs there, who they're probably going to use on the edge. And then you've got guys that, so I want to know what your take is on, so who's the biggest disappointment that's on the current roster right now that you thought? You got Katana Oladapo, who I thought would have been somebody.
He got hurt in training camp and preseason and never really was able to really bounce back from that.
What about Marshawn Lloyd? So you've got Marshawn Lloyd, who we still don't know what his ceiling is, because
he could be that dynamic duo that they really need, right? So you've got power and then you've got speed. So he's supposed to be lightning fast, and we never got to see it. So who knows?
And then you've got Jordan Morgan. So it's like, what do we have in Jordan Morgan? We've saw more what we have in Jordan Morgan than we did any other of those players, because Katana Oladapo was one of those guys I was super pumped about. Kalen King was that guy that I was actually super excited about.
Yeah,
I
never
thought he
got
was
a
going to have a
chance.
chip on his shoulder.
Yeah.
Packers actually had opportunities to plug him in later in the season.
Never did.
They did.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, like what do we have in Kalen King? Is Kalen King just going to be a practice squad player the rest of his career? Or is he that steal type guy, or is somebody going to steal him away from our practice squad this upcoming year? And then he's able to capitalize with another team.
Yeah.
So as the Packers' current roster stands at the wide receiver spot, we are completely loaded. We looked at who the Packers drafted in the first round with Matthew Golden. Jordan Love certainly has his weapons. Then you got Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave as your tight end options, which I think are two great options. Luke Musgrave has been a complete disappointment when it comes to his injuries, but I think that is somebody that is...
Honestly, that's my biggest disappointment, because I think he has the potential to make probably some of the biggest difference on the Packers offense.
Okay.
Just the fact that he can stretch the field right down the middle.
Mhm.
And then this is where Matthew Golden is going to come in handy, right? You got guys that can stretch the field up the middle if we can get Luke Musgrave healthy. But Matthew Golden on the outside, running vertical routes, running some posts, things like that. I think that'll open up the middle even more. And so then you can allow like a Jaden Reed to eat up, or Luke Musgrave, which is my point.
Yeah.
He just is never on the field. And it's not anything of his fault. He's, didn't he have like appendicitis and
he said some freak
bad
stuff.
luck. Yeah.
So what about Aaron Banks?
I don't
What
know
are your
what to think
thoughts on
about that
him?
one. I think that they paid a ton of money for a guard, which I was kind of surprised, but I don't know.
Not guaranteed though.
Right.
So not guaranteed money. So
He's just a monster of a guy. If you're looking to establish the run, and they definitely seem to be with the way they played last season, I think he's a great signing, just maybe not for that price. But it's not my money, so
yeah,
I don't care.
So as the offensive line sits right now, you've got Eldon Jenkins now playing center. You've got Aaron Banks playing left guard. You've got Rasheed Walker as your left tackle, protecting Love's blind side. Then you got Zach Tom, one of the most gifted offensive linemen in the league, I think, just given the fact that the dude can play everywhere. And then you got Sean Ryan or Jordan Morgan at your right guard. Now whether or not Jordan Morgan pans out, he better freaking pan out for the Packers to
It's going to be your left tackle.
Do you really think so? And the Packers,
the potential's there.
So you think that so you got to put your best five out there. So you're saying Sean Ryan is better than Rasheed Walker?
I think you're talking about two different spots. Like I think Sean Ryan is a very serviceable to good right guard. I think that they drafted Jordan Morgan to be left tackle. I really do. But the Packers play their guys all over the line, all of them, as many as possible. I do not think that they counted on Rasheed Walker panning out as a serviceable or a top 15 starting left tackle. I don't think that they planned on that. So, I think that the plan is still to put him at left tackle, because they're going to have to pay him this offseason. So
they are going to have to pay him. I'm sorry to interrupt you. I'm confused because did we miss the Kansas City Chiefs pick?
They somehow swapped because Kansas City's next. Why would you swap though? I don't understand it.
So what did the Philadelphia Eagles have to give up to swap with the Kansas City Chiefs? And why would the Kansas City now, unless the Kansas City Chiefs now are going to trade out, so they just double dipped. So maybe they capitalize on Philadelphia wanting to move up.
Yep.
Because Philadelphia Eagles, now their pick is in, they're coming out. Now maybe Philadelphia, they don't need a corner, so they're not taking Will Johnson, but maybe they're looking at Mike Green saying,
The Kansas City Chiefs have traded the 31st pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. With the 31st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Jahad
Campbell, linebacker.
Okay, the linebacker. I mean, he's gone. I'm actually shocked that he went as far as he did.
That's a great pick for that team.
It is, man. And the Philadelphia Eagles just continue to get better and better defensively. And defense does win you championships.
We saw that. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we did see that. And gosh dang, man, what a good pick by Philadelphia. And
Yep.
isn't that the resounding theme? Because I said that last year. Because Philadelphia, when you take a look at their picks last year, so Philadelphia's picks, you had Quinyon Mitchell and then Dejon Cooper with the first really, I mean, top 35 picks.
Yep.
That was their top 35 picks. They had Quinyon Mitchell, one of the better corners per PFF,
And then Cooper.
and then Cooper DeJean, the best corner PFF graded out.
Yeah.
So, I mean, wow. I mean, if you're Philadelphia Eagles, like,
And they didn't lose anybody on the offensive side of the ball.
I don't know if they did they not lose any offensive linemen?
No, I don't. Well, they may have lost a lineman, but I know they lost some defensive linemen.
Yeah, they did lose some defensive line, so they make up for it here
Yeah.
with this pick.
Oh, for sure. This guy can get after the quarterback. So he's more than just like your traditional linebacker. He's a pass rusher. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
So
What a pick. So here's the thing. So Peyton's laughing. Are you saying you're laughing because it's like, man, you're laughing because the Philadelphia Eagles is just like they continue to do the right thing. And
I think he's laughing at what Iggy said because he
Oh.
was to unmute. We didn't hear what happened with the trade stuff, so I think that's what it was.
so Jay Smoot said, I hope Josh stays and is healthy. I really hope he stays and is healthy too. Now he's been hurt 3 of the last 4 years. So it would make sense that maybe he stays healthy this year. I mean, he's due a good healthy year.
Yeah.
So we'll wait and see. I mean, yep. Yes, Dan's right. Dan's always right, man.
No.
So you've got the Kansas City Chiefs, the last to select in the first round. So do the Packers trade into the first round, or do the Kansas City Chiefs keep their pick and go with who I thought they were going to take from the beginning in Mike Green?
Yeah, that's what they're going to do. I think they're going to look to bolster that defense, although they do need a receiver. I don't know. I think they'll look to bolster the
Or
defense.
do they look to trade with the Packers,
That would be awesome.
Romeo Dobbs? You know what I'm saying?
That would be
For a
awesome.
wide
I would
receiver.
love that. I just don't see it. I would love that.
I think the Kansas City Chiefs, the fact that Luther Burden is still available, and they're like, so why is Luther Burden slipped so much? Because Luther Burden was supposed to go top 15, and now he's found himself staring at 31. Now I haven't been watching, but I don't know if they've been showing him in the green room or doing anything.
I don't even know if he's there. I don't know. But Kansas City picks next, but I don't know. He had a huge drop in production this last season. Some of that's because they had poor quarterback play in Missouri.
Yeah.
So that'd be my guess, but I don't know. Or that, or a lack of route tree, right? So
Yeah.
he's limited in what he can run.
Payton thinks
Johnson.
that Will Johnson goes off the board, but do they do defense here, or?
Yeah, I think they got exposed a little bit in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah, I didn't think they had the offense. I could see a receiver, but they didn't have the offensive firepower. But their defense just got lit up.
Yeah,
I
they
thought.
really did.
So
They
we'll
did.
see.
Complete disappointment. So Campbell's off the board. So if you're the Green Bay Packers, you're looking, as of right now, it's looking more and more likely that the Packers might not be trading into the first round. But there is the possibility that they could trade up if Will Johnson still becomes available, somebody like if that caliber, that they trade with the Tennessee Titans tomorrow.
Yeah.
So only one pick left. I'm super excited with what the Packers did. Are you guys, are you guys super excited with what the Packers did? I mean, because for me, I'm looking at the Packers doing the impossible, drafting a quote unquote number one wide receiver, yet to be seen.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
the
for
fact that they drafted a wide receiver, and here you've got Aaron Rodgers sitting at home watching the draft, and he's just like,
He's probably pissed.
which by the way, I'm trying to remember, who did Pittsburgh draft?
They took.
Do you remember? Does anybody remember who Pittsburgh drafted?
Was it a running back, wasn't it?
No, that
No.
was the Chargers. Chargers drafted Hampton.
That's right, Omari and Hampton. Was it a guard?
It was I want to say a guard. Which
Tyler Booker? I can't remember.
why would that make sense though? Why would the So John says he's stoked about the Packers. I am too.
Yeah,
So
I am.
okay, so Peyton said they went defensive tackle out of
Defensive
Pitt.
tackle.
Okay, so yeah, when you're looking at thank you, Jay Smooth says defensive tackle. So
Walter
Derek Harmon.
Nolan,
Yeah, so
Derek
okay.
Harmon. Yeah, Derek Harmon, that's right.
Yep.
Thanks, Iggy.
So yeah, here's the thing. The fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers didn't go quarterback means that they're saying that's their call to Aaron Rodgers, being like, listen, we didn't go quarterback. We think that you're our guy. We know you're a guy. You better freaking sign with us. So if
I
you're
hope-
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah. I hope so. I hope that's how it works out because I would love to see him in Pittsburgh. And he said that he misses like the Green Bay environment.
Pittsburgh's that.
Pittsburgh's that. I mean,
Yeah.
they're really, really close to what Green Bay has to offer.
Yeah. So are they doing a recap? Did we just miss the last pick?
We did.
Did we just miss the last pick of the draft?
We did.
Okay, well,
Simmons.
oh, okay. So, John, thank you so much. I totally missed it. Josh Simmons is gone. Surprised he actually lasted this long, but at the end of the day, it's not a shock that he goes to Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
So sweet. Thank you guys. Thank you for tuning in. The Packers don't trade up, but the Packers, I think, at home run.
Yeah.
Love it. And as always, guys, go Pack Go. Super pumped. Thanks for tuning in.